Welcome, everybody, to The Top Shelf. This is Season 2, Episode 10, and the first portion of 2022 in which we get to play a mini-series where we run through a couple of episodes of the same game and see how we fare. This time we are playing Death in Space, a spectacular sci-fi horror book put out by Free League Publishing and I believe it's Stockholm Cartel. It's absolutely superb, and I'm very Morkborgian, but I'm very excited to get into it. For some reason, anytime I run mini-series or longer-standing things on here, it always ends up being space horror, but it's fine. Today, I've got 3 guests kicking us off for the first episode that I'm very excited to have everybody back for. Everybody has been returning faces for the Top Shelf, but if you guys want to introduce yourselves in overlay order, we'll start with Ash, and then we'll go down to Dad Magic and Meg, and I'll give some fill-in at the end. We'll get started, and we will get going on this early morning, because our time slot has also moved, because I want to do a little bit more with my Saturdays, because summer starts to get busy, so we're moving stuff around.
Very good. Hey, what's up? I'm Ash. I go by Ash and Rabbit here on Twitch and all over the internet. Today I will be playing Heather Harpy Ositt. I don't know what else should I reveal about character stuff, unless we're just gonna hop into it.
You don't need to throw in any more than that. I think that's perfect
good
for the
then. Then I think it's magic. Yeah, bud.
Yeah, I'm Dead Magic Juice. I'm playing Jet Solar. Yeah, I guess that's it for now.
And then there's me. Hi, everybody. I'm Meg Mysteria. And today, wow, I am playing Lex Cantrell. Is day drinking acceptable since we're at the Top Shelf?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Sick.
Yep. Drinking is always allowed as long as it's done responsibly. And you're of age to do so. If you're watching along at home, you're also allowed to day drink, but those rules still apply. No, so I don't know what it is about sci-fi horror that I always connect with, but I'm very excited to get into this one specifically because I have not been able to touch on anything Morkborg in a little while. And this one functions very similar to very Rules Light OSR styled system with a little bit more cosmic horror and space cult themes than some other space horror that's a little bit more straightforward, like Alien or things like that, which I guess still we see some culty functionality in, but you know. This morning, yeah, I'm gonna have to get used to that too. This morning's episode begins as a small expeditionary crew has ventured off into space and is heading towards a particular, I guess, space debris field is probably the best way to describe it, where they have picked up a mysterious signal of unknown origin that also is not particularly decipherable. It's not information that's a direct SOS or something. It's just a repeating. It's almost like a tessellated series of sounds that keep repeating. And for whatever reason, you guys have managed to pick this up. And being the expeditionary crew that you are, with some hope left for a dying universe that everybody is convinced, and whether or not you are all delusional about it and just want to believe that there is something better, the universe is starting to collapse in on itself. It is no longer expanding. We are losing universe day by day. And people have kind of reached a nihilistic, terrible place because of it. This is a universe post war, and it is a universe that is kind of at its wit's end and has halted its move forward technologically. Most things are broken and beat up, and we're kind of running on remnants, because what's the point of creating and generating new benefits for humanity if everything's going to die out into nothingness eventually anyway? Um, but along this expeditionary adventure that you are heading out to, being one of the few science research organizations that want to believe that there is some hope for the universe, or that, in fact, maybe it is not collapsing like people assume that it is, and what we are experiencing is some other phenomenon, um, you experience a power surge to the system. Um, what feels like a system override, or at least a lockout of the controls of what your ship is functioning as, and then a power blackout. Uh, Even so much as to say that for a moment, even the backup generators don't come online, or at least you don't remember having them come online, because you all wake up, having been fully conscious during the time of this event. You wake up on not your ship, but somewhere else. As you kind of stir, you are in a dark, cold space. It is. The air is thin and stale. And as you kind of rub your eyes and figure out where you're at, there's only a single, like, auxiliary power bulb above a door in this room that looks like a cargo hold that you've been left within. Your gear is gone. Anything that you were not directly wearing, meaning clothing or, spacesuits or what have you, everything is missing from you. Including 2 members of the 5-man team that you left with, and your small robotic companion, your survey drone, is missing as well. As you continue to kind of gain consciousness of this space, there is a very pleasant tone, which kind of bidding in the background. But other than that, that single note, everything is silent. You're kind of left to your own echoes in an empty space. You know a couple things about this. Apart from knowing that you are not on your own ship. You are a science crew. You are an expeditionary crew. You are familiar with space travel, and with the feeling of what is inside this room, at least. Life support is not active wherever you are, because however long you've been here, there is a distinct feeling that the air has been thinning. This is not as comfortable to breathe as you would like. I'm not sure how much time you have, but it's not pleasant. Beyond that, what are y'all up to?
So, Jet, upon waking up, is gonna kind of look around. The feeling you're describing, I would imagine, is actually not too unfamiliar to him. But he's gonna kind of look around with heavy breathing and kind of get more confused by the moment and wide-eyed, and just look at the other 2 of you and say, "Oh, this isn't my pod."
And it sure as shit ain't Kansas. What else is new?
What happened? Does anyone remember anything at all?
That wasn't hibernation, was it? No,
No.
it can't be. This isn't my pod.
Right.
Oh, no.
No, the ship went into power loss, generators didn't kick on, we blacked out. And here we are.
Barely remember that.
I do want to throw something out over the table for clarification, if I may. Mm-hmm. Since we're all crew that would be familiar with each other, if I'm understanding that correctly, Mads?
Yes, absolutely.
So, Heather and Lex, you'd be familiar with the fact that I tend to, I have like a cryostasis pod. I do hibernation for long periods of time and then like come out of it for tasks and missions and such for short periods of time, and then go back to sleep on our ship on a regular basis for the sake of longevity. So when I say this isn't my pod, I would assume in character you'd know that that's what I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and cryostasis is fairly is a fairly recognized practice, especially with how long space travel still takes. We never really mastered the whole like warp drive of Star Trek and the hyperdrives of the Star Wars. We are still traveling
Thinking is very
sublight.
dangerous.
Yeah. We are still sublight travelers as far as all things are concerned in death and space. So everybody would probably have been in a cryopod at least once, but if that is a regular occurrence for you on the ship, yeah, you would be very familiar.
It is the origin that I picked.
Perfect.
So there's some details there.
Hey, I'll take it. As you all are kind of getting your bearings in the quiet of this, you hear some static break over like the ship's intercom system. And you hear, "Hey, wake up now. I don't know if you are or not already, because this is just a recording, but I am familiar with the data having been transmitted successfully, and so this is my final goodbye, and a thank you to the three of you and the rest of your crew for providing such a delicate, nimble ship, all things considered, to get us to our location. Since you have no real hope of surviving much beyond this, I am happy to introduce myself as Maxillin Brittlegast. I am the father of the New Dawn, in charge of everything we are about to uncover. It's a shame that you won't see us repair the universe as we are predestined to do, and one step closer to because of you all. But hopefully your experience on what remains of our previous ship is pleasant, or at least quick. If you need anything, don't try to look for it. We've stripped down the ship and broken anything that may do you any good. But our automated assistant is still roaming the quarters. Should you need anything, feel free to ask. I'm sure they'll oblige. Also, I did take the liberty of bringing your captain aboard, but they were in some more dire straits than you all when you arrived, as they were more keen to defend your little vessel. So they are in cryosleep at the moment. Isolated battery, it won't survive long. But that's up to you if you even care at this point. Have fun. And then the static crackles out.
Fuck you, Maxillian.
I don't understand why people do this. I don't
understand why we decided to respond to the signal.
That's a good question. I know. It's a bit of an altruistic feeling the need to learn and help in any way, in any capacity that we can.
Can confirm.
Sorry.
We need to clarify off table here who made the decision to go investigate this, so
I can,
that we know
I can
who to
take
blame.
that. Totally fine.
Oh, Jet would have absolutely been on board with it too.
Fuck both of you.
The captain inevitably green lights these kind of things, but yeah, if he's got two scientists willing to go, there was no stopping the pilot from being dragged along.
Curiosity killing the crew slowly.
Apologies.
And now it's cost us my ship. Thanks, guys.
We can try and get it back. It feels weird saying that. I am not strong. It's all up here.
Well, we could certainly
Cool.
try.
Maybe we can rig their bot to help us in some way.
Point of order. Rig the bot. Find the captain, wherever the hell he is in that fucking cryostasis.
Mm-hmm.
See if we can't get life support back online so we're not breathing the stale air. Thank God they left us our EVA suits.
Oh, thank God.
EVA suits are present, but the self-contained oxygen canisters that would be connected to them have been disconnected. You're not sure if they're on the ship, but you have the suit, but you have no oxygen connected to them. You are breathing the ship's air right now.
Fuck.
We're going on a fucking treasure hunt, guys.
Super cool. Okay. You know, when I woke up this morning, this is not what I anticipated we would be doing. I thought maybe there would be people that might need help. Maybe it was another stranded science vessel. Lex, I'm really sorry.
I'm not accepting your apology yet.
It's fine. It's fine. I totally understand. I completely understand. Okay. First moves. What are we doing here? Let's get our collective brain cells together on this.
So there's a single source of light, you said, that's kind of, are we able to see the entire room around us?
No, you can see basically the first quarter of the room in front of you with this like single red light auxiliary power bulb above the door. The door is shut at the moment. I will also give you that you can probably see the faint flicker of the door controls probably being powered enough at the moment. The rest of the space, this is a cargo hold, but this is and Lex, you would actually probably know this if you were a pilot. The size of this cargo hold, you're probably aboard something akin to like a light freighter. It's a fairly sizable hold, and it has pretty much jack shit within this room. There's a couple crates, but beyond that, you could probably make out based on the size that they could have easily seated your small 5-man vessel in the cargo hold, physically removed you all, and then all piled in and left. It's an empty room.
Okay, so it looks like we're in a freighter. I don't think we're gonna find anything useful in here. So, what's behind door number 1, folks?
Guess we'll find out soon enough.
Okay.
So the way you just described it made it sound like that door might go to outer space, or am I misunderstanding that?
No, you would be misunderstanding that. It is an interior door. Like it is a sealed door, so you can vent the cargo hold. But the doors to these kind of cargo holds are on the floor. You guys are basically woke up on the sealed door to the outside. Because the whole bottom of the hold will open.
Gotcha. Okay, so does this other door have any windows or any means of being able to see through to what's
nope,
on the other side?
not this one. And yet,
How do the door controls look? Do they look like they would work, or?
yeah, they
Okay.
look functional for all intents. They're a little old. The ship all kind of functions that way. This looks a lot more dilapidated than your ship did. Even by like them saying they destroyed it, it just looks like an old vessel.
Okay.
So we head through.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's go.
you head through, and the doors open to a red-lit hallway. There are more bulbs out here. There doesn't really need to be any in the cargo hold for auxiliary power, so nobody, there's just a single bulb. But there are, like, basically an auxiliary bulb where each of the fluorescents would be down a linear hallway. Immediately to your right, there is another set of doors. They are unlocked. You can still see or at least you can see the power on those as well. There are 2 more doors down this hallway on your left. And it looks like this hallway splits at the end of it with a... So I guess in total you've got 2 doors on your right, 2 doors on your left, and then the split in the hallway down at the end. And there is only one of these doors in this particular hallway, which is the second door on the right, that is barricaded. A number of cargo crates and things have been kind of shoved up atop it and against it, so even if you try to open the door, you're not finding the space to squeeze through it. But all the other 3 doors are open and available in here.
Do we all just want to pick one? Or put it to a vote?
How have you
Number 1 in the first
survived
hall?
this long,
I
Heather?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have like much longer for this life anyway, so like might as well just go out guns blazing, huh? I know.
I think I'd vote for one at a time.
Okay,
One at a time.
closest one then?
Yep, let's go.
Closest one, right or left?
Let's say right.
Okay.
Yes.
Do it.
All right. So I'm like drawing out a map for me as I go of your guys' decisions.
Cool.
As you travel right, this opens up into a maintenance hallway. It's narrower. It's definitely not meant for large traffic. But you guys can still fit down it. Probably 2 people shoulder to shoulder. Width as far as everything, and it moves down a little ways, and then it comes to a 90-degree turn, which takes you back, like mapping wise you would be running along probably one side of the cargo hold, but the door that it opens to would be the engine room and your power systems. This space is, as you open up those doors, again, couple auxiliary red bulbs. It's similar to the cargo room where it's not like incredibly important there's a ton of light in here, so it's fairly dark. But you can very clearly see in this red, like white paint, drawn almost obsessively across this space of like just childlike depictions of the sun, scrawled in... Yeah, just like a big can of white paint spilled all over the floor, and there's just suns everywhere. But the power room is non-functional. Not sure why yet, but that's what's in here. Other than that, it seems empty. I mean, apart from like, engine room things.
Lex, any idea how to get the AI assistant on this type of vessel summoned, working, hanging out?
I'm going to posit this to you because it was in the book. I don't know how much you read, Lex, but there are 2 different kinds of assistants on a ship. There is a fully integrated AI that you would speak with and can interact with across the entire ship, or there's an automated caretaker, which is like just a person-sized droid usually that will walk around and do things. As of right now, you're not sure which of those 2 they are, but those are very different things, all ships concerned.
So as far as like the integrated AI system, would that be something that's activated just by saying "hey" out loud, or
Um, it can be. Usually you have to be registered to the system in order to be able to voice activate it. And not all ships have both, so you're not sure if this one has one or the other or both, but it has some variant of that.
Not really without knowing which kind of AI they have, whether or not it's the droid or if it's the integrated system. But we can start with, hey, anybody listening?
A good start.
Your yell just kind of echoes off the walls, and you are left in silence.
Well, that just proves we're not registered.
Is there like a terminal nearby where we can gain access to it?
There are... So, on a typical ship, there are a few terminals usually that you can tap into and register to something like the ship's computer system, and not necessarily like its mechanical functionality. Cruise quarters typically have access to that. The bridge usually has access to that, and a med bay would typically have access to that. Here you would have, like, there are like diagnostic terminals that you could check on the actual, like, output and status of the wellness of the ship, but there is no power right now. So they are barely functioning, only to say right now the terminal, if you're looking for one, is only basically to say you are the... It just says... please replace power core for diamagnetic fusion reactor. And that's all you get from it.
Yeah, we're not going to find out what actual AI we're dealing with until we get to, like, cruise quarters or the bridge. As far as what's going on down here, we gotta find or replace the power core, which is probably somewhere around that corner.
Okay.
At least to get to the...
Oh, go ahead.
Lex is kind of moving forward and wants to just move around the corner and explore, like, what all, and see what all's going on in this maintenance shaft.
Okay, like
how far it extends.
Hallway?
Yeah.
Okay. The maintenance shaft itself, as far as like what you walked down, you had traversed the full length of, moves down 90-degree turn, and then you open up the doors into the engine bay, and the power core or room. But there are a couple fairly large vents that you could, in theory, you could navigate through as maintenance systems, or you would sometimes be required to. But they're all bolted shut.
That's suspicious.
Hey, I'm just giving you guys options to move around, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Played enough Alien Isolation to know where this is going.
No, I know where you know that you think it's going.
While Lex is doing that, I'd like to... I'm actually curious about this paint depiction. I'd like to check to see if any of it might still be wet.
Ooh.
It's a good question. So, if you are taking the time to investigate that, the paint on the walls, by this point, is dry. However, the tipped-over paint can that was kind of left in the middle of the room has started doing that, like, molten lava, like, top layer coagulation. But it is still wet underneath, but like the latex paint kind of thing where it creates that film. So it's probably recent enough within the last 24 hours, but the actual depictions are dry.
Okay. So I shared that with the group, and I guess we're not really sure how long we were out, are we?
Not really. I feel like if we're able to get to one of those terminals in like the crew quarters or something, then we might be able to see the last movement that they had here. Get a timeline of all this.
Anything interesting, Lex?
Beyond that, Lex, are you looking for anything else? I guess, is there anything that would benefit you that you're trying to find, or just trying to navigate? Because I mean, this room is fairly self-contained. It looks to kind of be the back edge of the ship if you're orienting yourself. If it also sits your left wall, the way that you walk in, your left wall is probably touching the cargo hold. But then it's just a single hallway back out into the main space.
Yeah. So I think if they said that they stripped everything that could possibly be of any use, would probably prioritize looking for any sort of tools that might still be left, and two, if there was any other damage done within this area, within the engine room, outside of the core being removed.
Okay. Sounds good. So go ahead and let me get a roll from you for Savvy.
That's an 11.
An 11? Okay. The room itself is... Without light, you're not 100% sure, but you're pretty sure that the only thing that they had done to sabotage this room, which is effective, all things considered, but was just physically remove the power core from the central housing within the fusion reactor. Power cores for these kind of reactors, which are not particularly common, all things considered, for them to have a reactor of this kind. It's a faster ship if it was working. But they sit about yay big, 2 feet long, probably 8 inches in diameter. A small enough core, something that you could have easily hauled off by yourself, so there is a possibility that it's not even on this ship anymore, or they just tossed it somewhere else. But that's the only real damage that you can find, is just the removal of that.
Anything about possible tools?
Yes. As far as tools themselves, you can find basically just a standard mechanics kit. So there's 3 or 4 screwdrivers, a couple of wrenches, pliers, both of the wide variety and the needle nose electrical varieties, a tape measure, things like that. But you're nothing, there are no power tools in here, but there is a bag full of stuff, X-Acto knife, or not like a box cutter and stuff, the basic tools that somebody would have around, but nothing really fancy in here.
Simple is simple. For confirmation, you said that the only thing that was with us was like our suits and whatever clothing we were wearing. Did that include anything we might have had in pockets or something like that, or were those all taken?
If you could conceal it in an inner pocket without it being outwardly noticed, if it's small enough for something like that, I'll say yeah, you probably still have it on you. They took anything of major note from the exterior of your suit, air, weapons, scanning tools, science equipment, things like that are all gone.
Okay, I can't argue anything outside of personal items. All right. Okay, so it looks like as far as the power core goes, they very well could have taken it with them. We might be able to find it somewhere on the ship if they just decided to be assholes. But we've got some tools.
It's also entirely possible that someone could have made a mistake. and left one usable, available somewhere.
Let's
True.
pray for others' mistakes.
Okay. Where are we heading to next? There's not much more you can glean from in here unless you have any further questions for me.
I think the only question I have is clarification on orientation. So this room is essentially a dead end. We have to backtrack in order to go anywhere new? Okay.
Yeah, so this room is a dead end, which from orientation you get that the cargo hold and the engine room are the far rear of the ship. Everything else moves forward.
Quick question before we move out of this room. Were the vents that are bolted shut? Are they like actual like heavy bolts, or is it something that if wanted to, I could feasibly remove now?
You could, um, you could take some time to unbolt them. The wrenches that you have are sized like there are sockets to fit the size of bolts that they are. They're fairly heavy, but like they're not like welded in place. They can be unscrewed.
You got your thinking face on, Lex.
Trying to decide if it's worth the time spent to try to get these things off the vents. Not quite sure why they decided to bolt them to begin with. But
I mean, the vents are just affixed to, like, the grating that is over the top of the actual vent shaft is what I mean. It's just secured there as it would be normally. They're just sizable vents for being a light freighter.
You mean just like your standard vent covers?
Vents, yeah.
Yeah, I apologize. I overcomplicated that and made you all think that was ominous. No, they're just big old vent covers covering vent shafts.
Okay.
And they wouldn't see any reason to do it right now. Now let's keep moving, see what we can figure out else going on here.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we want to just go across the hall?
Let's just go to the door that's next to us.
Okay.
Okay. So, you walk back down the hallway. And who's taking point as you guys are walking?
I'm very specifically not taking point. Jet is a pretty stereotypically kind of sheepish, little bit shy nerd type.
Okay.
Not one to make a first move.
All right, Lex. So
move with a purpose.
Lex is moving with a purpose. Did you take the whole bag of tools, or did you just grab a couple things out of it?
Damn straight I did.
The whole bag?
A whole bag.
Okay, sounds good. So you are walking down this maintenance shaft to get back to the door in the main hallway of the ship. And faintly you can actually hear metal-on-metal footsteps kind of echoing down further in the ship. It's at a distance, and it doesn't necessarily seem to be moving with a purpose, but just moving.
But further down the hallway that we're going down, or is that behind us, down the left-hand hallway?
No, so the main hallway that you guys would have had to have returned to, where it forks, at the far end of it, is closer to where you're hearing the sound. So you've got a full length of hallway between you, and if you're just going across the hall, it's not necessarily a problem. But there is definitely something moving on the other side of the ship.
Okay.
And it's not like the heavy thunk of like what would be an EVA suit. It sounds like maybe it's a droid.
Yeah, you would recognize that as either mag boots or a droid. and internally known to be crazy enough to wear mag boots. It's too much effort.
Well, there's something moving back there.
Okay.
Last time we investigated something we didn't know, we ended up with our ship stolen. We're not dealing with that right now.
I'm gonna keep apologizing for that. Like, it's just.
It's not letting it go.
I understand it's both within and outside of my character to have done this, so I'm really sorry. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I was just gonna like walk up to the door opposite of
Okay.
the one that we're coming out of, and just like mid apology, just like working on getting the door open.
Okay. Door slides open. And you can see this is simultaneously the master terminals. This just opens up into a room. Fairly lengthy room with what you can see probably a dozen to 15-ish cryopods on the opposite side of the room. And then the main operating terminals for life support are also in here. One of these cryopods, so all of them are frosted over, at least partially. One of the cryopods you specifically can see looks like it's been like hot wired to an external battery source, knowing they were going to remove the power. So one of them is still functioning. All of the other ones look like they are thawing because of that lack of power. So it's been, again, has not been super long since people have left the ship.
How long after power removal do cryopods usually take to completely power down?
Jet, how long does a cryopod normally take if you just let it thaw naturally?
Boy.
On the spot.
are we talking just like the power just got shut off, or like intentionally bringing the person back awake?
Yeah, no, I mean just power got shut off. You're just letting the fridge warm up, basically. Like,
would it overcomplicate things to say I would assume that there would be like a last ditch emergency backup in each pod that would maintain it for a couple hours at most?
No. No, I think that aligns with kind of my thoughts on it too. I was thinking they've probably got an 8 to 10 hour like full dethaw, and some of that can be from small auxiliary power just keeping them chilled at the, as soon as power gets shut off, hoping that maintenance can bring them back on before anything gets too warm. But there is the one that is still chilled and properly maintained because of this exterior power source that it's connected to. So at the state that they are currently, they are mostly thawed. The rest of them are mostly thawed. There is still some frost on them, but they are not like iced like they normally would be. So
Is
they've
it, like,
probably been
condensation on the outside of a soda can or something?
Yeah, you got some of that going on. Yeah, you're looking at it's probably been about 6 of that 8 to 10 hours through its thawing process.
And they're occupied.
No. None
No,
of them
okay.
are occupied except for the one that Maxillin explained had your captain in it, that he
Yes.
kept on ice. But you can see all the rest of them, even though there is some frost, they are not occupied. They're empty.
Okay. Any sort of indication on the power source itself, like your standard battery meter or anything else otherwise that might indicate an amount of time that the power source has remaining?
Yeah, give me a savvy check.
It's a D20 plus my mod?
Yep.
It's 13.
13. Okay. That's just successful, so we're good. You walk over there, and what you are looking at is basically an old world, like, combustion fuel generator. pour the gasoline in and let it run. It does have a small terminal on it that'll give you fuel capacity right now, and it's down to about half its fuel at the moment. With a success on that too, a generator of this size, one full tank will probably run you 15, 16 hours. If it's only outputting the amount that it is.
I think we found the captain, and if I'm reading this right, we've got about 7 to 8 hours on this power source.
Okay.
Fantastic. Let's wake him up, and we'll keep that in our back pocket as a reserve.
Okay. Is anybody going to actually check vitals or how they're doing before you wake them up?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd probably actually even chime in and say, are we sure we want to do that when we don't even know what condition he's in? I mean,
we can check on him first.
If you want a full diagnostic, you would need life support up first to do that.
And you said that there was
visual readings, but
okay.
I mean, you can physically look at them through the frosted glass, but you won't get any actual medical diagnostics unless life support is back online.
Okay. Yeah, I think Heather would try and find some sort of life support terminal in this room where she could get some sort of a reading.
Life support is actually not tampered with. It is fully functional. It has not been sabotaged at all, at least it looks like. But there is no power to the room.
Okay.
Which also leads you to believe that this is an old enough ship that they did not put life support on a backup reserve. It's not integrated into a secondary power source. But yeah, if you can get power restored to the ship, you know that life support would come back online at least.
Okay. Well, the terminal's out. It kind of looks like everything else that we've seen so far. Need power first, and then we can really figure out what's happening here. Jet, do you feel comfortable with just getting a visual on the captain and seeing how he's doing? Hey, Jet. You okay?
Oh, no.
I think he's longing for the cryopod.
He's thinking right now, and he's concerned about the footsteps that he can hear coming down the hallway. Slowly, and again without purpose, but they are at least traveling the route you are.
Right. Okay. Fine. I'll go do it. No problem. And then Heather will run up to the cryopod and wipe down the window to see how the captain's doing.
Go ahead and go ahead and make another savvy check for me.
Okay. 14.
14. Okay. Just a success on this one. As you look at your captain, they are pretty badly torn up. They look like they're somewhere between they got into a scuffle and they were tortured, whipped, it almost looks like very, very fine lacerations across the front of their face. The suit that they were wearing is torn in multiple spaces, and as cold as this space is inside of this cryo tank, the captain is out, but something else underneath that suit is moving slowly. But you can see almost underneath different portions of the suit creep, like vines almost. Like something growing within the space between him and the suit. Very, very slowly right now. but it is moving. The captain is not.
Okay. I think Heather would like very slowly back away. I think the captain is fucked. They've had a bit of a bad time here. There's something else in there though. I couldn't get a visual on it. But there's something in his suit. I don't know what could have overcome them or what Maxillin may have done to our captain here, but I can't even fathom a guess.
What do you mean something in the suit? And then I'll like actually take a look inside myself as well.
Be quiet.
So yeah,
Go ahead.
You can walk up to it and you can see the same thing. It is it's moving at like a snail's pace. Like if you were to, and this is a weird example, but like if you watch like a time lapse of like a flower growing, where you look at the kind of stop motion of like the vines coming up or the stalks coming up from the ground, it's like that, but in slow motion. Like you're still seeing that same kind of the speed of that creep, like moving and raising portions of that suit. But it's very, very faint right now. Very much probably slowed down due to its chill in that space. But something is definitely in multiple spots across the suit is still advancing.
Okay, very specific question.
Yes.
Any chance that I'd have any sort of familiarity, or we'd have any sort of familiarity with creatures, plants, fungi, etc. that would thrive off of feeding on a person, and still be able to do so in such extreme cold as cryo?
You would have some familiarity with the idea that there are creatures that exist, be that flora or fauna, that exist within space itself. At the temperature that space by itself is, if it was something that had infected him, it's not unreasonable to think that it can maintain its course in like artificially chilled environments. It's also worth noting that because you are an expeditionary crew to basically chart the unknown and the weird, relatively speaking, we're talking in your guys' case like minerals and archaeological artifacts and basically evidence that there is the rare but still natural of the universe to provide hope. You do and have occasionally run into talks of the void and its existence and its kind of matter manipulating or kind of outside of physics realm that it be. If it is a creature of the void itself and not something within space, which is possible, you would have no way of judging what is there. And without getting a good look at it, it's hard to tell too. But it is possible, and you are familiar with that at least.
Okay. Well, that's terrifying.
The footsteps are getting closer.
As much as I'd like to take care of it now, I don't think we have the means to do so. Also, probably company.
Okay. Are you waiting on this droid to pass by or open the room? Is there a contingency you guys are making? Are you just gonna sit quiet for a sec? What's the plan?
I think after having heard the footsteps getting closer, Heather would have like found literally anything in the room, like a pipe just chilling or like part of a cryopod that she can like snap off, and then would just go like stand by the door just waiting.
Okay. So to be more specific then, you are holding an empty air canister.
Okay, cool.
One that would normally attach to your suit, but yeah, like a fire extinguisher just ready to clobber him.
I'm ready.
I like that we are ready to assume that this thing is malevolent.
Okay. Are the other
Jet's
two...
kind of frozen, just like semi-hunched sort of next to the cryopod, just like looking at the other two, like, oh shit, what do I do?
Okay. What about you, Lex?
We push Jet actually behind a fucking cryopod where he is not seen.
All right. So you both are hiding out a little bit.
He's hiding out. I'm looking for a weapon as well.
Okay, you're looking for a weapon as well. You are
That's
welcome.
just good to have.
You are welcome to snag the biggest wrench out of your box.
Fantastic.
Okay. You wait, and the footsteps get closer. They're slow and they're aimless, but they're heavy. And as they get closer, you can start to recognize at least the weight of this droid. You can hear the mechanical whirring of the gears that drive it forward, moving the joints in its limbs. And then it stops right in front of the door. You can hear it, and you can hear the servos in the center of it turn. And then footsteps as it starts walking back down the hall. And everybody can take a breath. As it leaves your position, moving back down its designated route.
How loud are these doors when they actually open?
These two haven't been super bad. The cargo hold door is a little bit louder, older, a little bit more grinding, but life support and the maintenance shaft have been fairly quiet. You might want to put a little bit of distance on it, but...
I was going to say, wait till it's a bit further down before opening that door, see if we can't take a look at this droid.
Okay. So you take a minute. Give me a dex check, Lex.
I'm going to utilize that +2 here because I get a -1 to dex, and that puts me at a 13.
13? Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Droid's footsteps are loud enough for you to be able to actually hear, with fair certainty how far down the hallway it's gotten. You open the door, and you look out. The droid sits about 6 foot even as far as its height. It is crudely painted with the same kind of like white banding of the same kind of paint that you saw in the engine room, and you just catch it as it turns and moves down one of the hallways where that splits, which you would see as the right hallway of the two. But as it turns, arms out in front of it, it is carrying what looks like shoot, I lost what it is called. My brain just died. Let me find it. Hold just a moment.
Is it something that we need?
No.
Oh God.
It's a weapon.
I was gonna say, if it's the frickin' power cell.
Nope. Yeah, you're looking at it's basically holding a powered hammer.
Oh.
that you would see. Like it's a one-handed, like demolition hammer essentially, but these are energized. Which Lex, you would really be the only person familiar with that if you're the repair mechanic. But like they are mean mugging weapons if you're up close to somebody. And he's toting whatever it is toting it around, like wielding it actively, but doesn't seem to pay much more attention to anything else, just kind of marching. It is also now out of sight, so.
So I'm gonna go on a limb here and say we avoid that thing for now until we can get a diagnostic on it and see what its standing orders are.
Like it. It's safe.
I could go for safe now. Safe sounds good.
Okay. So you are left with 2 directions to travel so far. Well, 3 if you want to put in the work, but you've got the door on the same side of the hallway as the engine room, which is the one that is... The second door is the one that is heavily barricaded right now. You've got the door opposite that, or you've got down that hallway where it breaks in 2 directions, which, if you traveled left, you know the droid went right, but you don't know how they connect if they do.
Okay.
Let's hit the one beside the engine room.
The one that's barricaded?
Is that the one that's barricaded?
I think so.
Yeah, the one beside the engine room is barricaded. The one beside the cryo bay, on the opposite side of the hallway, is the other one that's open.
Yeah, we'll do the other one.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you're drawing map stuff, but left side of the hall
I'm
so far.
trying to.
Okay. Left side of the hall, cryo bay, the door you're about to go into. Right side of hall, engine room hallway, and then the barricaded door. Okay, so you guys slip down the hallway, making your way towards... as a specific note, I guess, are you guys closing doors behind you as you leave spaces?
I'd like to think so.
Yes.
If anything, out of habit and preservation.
All right, fair enough. So you guys head down, open the doors to the last remaining door that is openable here, and you enter the crew's quarters. These quarters are large enough to have manned probably 20 or so people, at least bed numbers wise. So however many people would be hanging out in cryo, and then probably a skeleton crew of a couple more that wouldn't fit, but can maintain things in the interim. The crew's quarters are well put together, more or less. Like the beds are a little disheveled. Like it's not military by any means that are making their beds, but all the beds are made. There are lockers aside each set of bunk beds. And there are little foot chests at the base of each of these bunk beds as well, very much like a barracks layout. There are no other exits, I guess, to this room. But if you are investigating things, you would also see, Lex, since you made note of it earlier, you were the first person to make mention of it, one of these big vent covers you can find in here too. So there is some connection point between here and functionally the engine room, ideally. But beyond that, the space is empty. No bodies, no anything else. It looks like it's just people left, put it together and left.
For clarification, you said these vents were big enough for us, even with our suits, to move through?
Not with your suit, but you could move through them.
Yeah.
If you're in like a full EVA suit, like you're not fitting, but it is big enough for a person to move through.
Making note.
Okay.
Okay, let's go through lockers and but just see if we can't find something.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. You're gonna go ahead and rifle through a bunch of the a number of the lockers, most of which are empty. But within like the culmination of everything, some stuff was left behind. And I will get you a list of everything that you guys found during your scavenger hunt through the barracks once we return from a quick intermission break, 5-6 minutes. Let's me collect stuff and grab some more water, and then we will be right back. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate everybody showing up this early. Sorry I changed the timing on everybody, but hopefully it's a good time so far. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are playing Death in Space on the top shelf. This is part 1 of a 3, maybe 4-part mini-series, depending on how things go. We've currently got 3 members of a 5-member crew that were kidnapped. Their ship was taken from them, and they were left aboard a dying vessel in a portion of space. They have no idea where they are. We know that there is an automaton walking the halls that is unfriendly, and we currently know that their captain has been left in cryo, but that cryo is maybe more to their benefit than not right now. And perhaps it's the fuel of that generator that we should be more concerned about as opposed to letting them out. But you guys are currently in the crew's quarters, exploring this ship, trying to find out what you can. The power is out. Life support is failing. The air is becoming more stale as you go. And you have found a number of things within this space. It probably takes you a good 10-15 minutes to get through everything if you guys are being thorough.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody, go ahead and everybody just roll a d6 for me.
I'll take it.
Oops, 3.
2.
Okay. Heather, you find the pistol.
Oh.
There is a
Alright.
single handgun that was left wedged under one of the crew's mattresses. And in this game, it functions in a way that ammunition, which I really love, ammunition is arbitrated by rounds of combat, not by how many physical bullets. So you base...
Cool.
So based on the ammunition in this, however you want to narrate it, if you are the kind of person who pulls the trigger a bunch of times, wildly firing, or firing once very precisely, you have enough ammunition in this pistol for basically 2 rounds of combat.
Okay.
Meg, Lex, you have found a small sealed canister of white paint, as well as a paintbrush in one of these lockers, and 1 loaf of almost bread.
Yeah.
And, God damn it, I was waiting for the names to cycle so I could... Jet, there we go. Jet, you found 3 things. There is a flashlight. There is power to this flashlight currently. There is a journal, which kind of functions as just a collection of pages torn out and stapled together so that they could write on them. And they are all... You're not sure if it's ciphered or the writings of a mad person, but they are not decipherable right now. And you found like half a roll of duct tape.
Okay.
Beyond that, the space is clean and clear and not a bad spot, all things considered. Everything else is a little bit more ominous than this space, but that's all that's in here.
Okay. And before we kind of get moving back through, we've been getting some bits cheered. Thank you, OKKP. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Correct me if I am wrong, but just so you know, for Pride Month this year, all of the bits donations for cast members that have opted into doing so, any revenue that is put into the stream, so all those donations that are being put out, um, cast members have volunteered to put that revenue forth to the Marsha P. Johnson Institute. So your money's going to a good cause. They support Black trans rights. They're doing a really good program. I'll drop the link for them in the chat in a moment. But yeah, that's where your money is going to this month.
Much appreciated, Meg. I forgot about it at the very beginning of the stream, so I had to have Meg remind me, so thank you. It's too early for me right now. I will get used to it, but I am not used to the early yet. I say as if I don't forget everything on my stream every time.
You're fine.
We're good. So, with that in mind, continue to... If you want to continue to throw in donations too, all of those bits... Would you throw in the donation chart as well? Oh, we're right here. The reaction board. We've got 200 bits for healing. And then 500 bits is a boon. 1,000 bits is a curse, or at my discretion, in a horror system, making things much harder.
Oh no.
And 2,000 bits is a significantly beneficial item to the party. So those are all welcome and available. As of right now, those 100 bits are keeping the amount of air in the ship breathable for longer. So
we appreciate that.
All of those donations are keeping them from having to worry about stuff a little faster. But what are we all up to?
I think Heather is, going over the pistol that she's found and making sure that it is like in good working condition. Once that's determined, making sure that safety is on, and then she'll like tuck it into like her cargo pants in the back.
Okay, sounds good.
Jet quickly flips through this journal, and then seeing that it's not useful, at least at this juncture, he's gonna like start to open one pocket, and then then another pocket, oh no, and then another one. And then actually just tuck it sort of inside this this vest of pockets that's iconic to him on the inside.
Okay, sounds good. Oh, I love this. Okie KP, you're my favorite.
A good bean.
I'm very pleased.
Hey, I can't be mad because you're donating to charity, but I'm mad because you're weaponizing shit against us.
Weaponize donating to charity.
I love it.
Okay. So, as you all collect your things, do we press on down the hallways? And if so, which direction?
I actually have a question for the crew here.
Okay.
In character. I've been thinking about this barricaded door.
Right.
If it's barricaded from the other side, that's got to mean it either goes somewhere that someone else could have gotten out, or it's a dead end that someone else is stuck in, whether dead or alive. No?
Was it barricaded from the other side, or is it barricaded from the outside?
It's barricaded from the hallway that you are in.
Yeah.
So
no.
My bad.
you can only see like the top corners of the door to know that a door is there, but otherwise it's just a shitload of crates and things stacked in front of it.
Gotcha. Okay, I retract that statement and instead go with I would just have to assume that if the effort was put into barricading that up, it might be worth the effort sooner rather than later to get in there.
Have you ever stopped to think that maybe it was barricaded for a reason?
I want to assume right now that that reason was keeping us out as long as possible. I know that the other option is a lot more gruesome. uh, I don't know. We're running low on time.
Do we want to stick a pin in it and maybe come back to it? Or do we want to risk potentially letting something out that was being barricaded in?
I would put an ear to the wall and see.
It's a great idea.
Would you like to?
Yes.
Okay. So, you walk out of the room, conscious of the footsteps of the automaton down the way. By this point, he's probably on approach again, having been in 15 minutes-ish. But you lean over and give a listen through the door, or by that doorway. You get nothing. Dead silence.
No sound.
Also, actually, I'll give this to you because you were specifically taking the time to listen. There is no sound coming from in there, but you do hear the automaton coming down the left hallway.
So it looped around.
That would be, that would be a good assumption.
Ooh.
Don't hear anything from there, but it sounds like further up, those forks, they just end up looping around.
Okay. Do we want to go to the right then? Or go hide again? I'm okay with either option at this point.
Is there a spot that we'd be able to hide and observe an experiment in the hallway?
Ooh. Is there enough space like behind this barricade that someone could hide behind it? Or is it more just stuff pushed up against the door?
That's the one.
Okay.
Just pushed up against the door. Because these are all square crates and things, there's nary a space to get behind.
Okay.
Climb up on top of, or you could physically hide behind it on one side, but if the thing's marching past, it will eventually see you.
Right, okay. What are you thinking, Jet? What do you want to do?
I want to see how it reacts to a change in the environment.
Oh.
And I would like to see if there's anything like a crate or an item that is like big enough to noticeably block off some of the space between the end of the barricade and the rest of the width of the hallway that I could like put in the path that I'm assuming this thing would want to continue walking through. And then if we could find a place to sort of hide, like in one of the farther back hallways, to be able to still see if and how the droid would react to that.
Okay. Yeah, you are welcome to... I mean, the easiest way to do that probably is just going to be to leverage the crate on the top of this... the top of this stack off. But at its weight, what you're going to end up doing is dropping it off the pile. It'll give you your result, but it's going to be loud, and it will leave you there. Like, you're not going to be able to set this up and then go hide and wait for it to approach it. If you want to do this, you're gonna make some noise.
Why don't we just... We're in crew quarters right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And this door is directly opposite you.
Why don't we just leave the door for the crew quarters open, stash the suits, hide in the vent. You can watch from there.
Not a bad idea.
Ooh, yeah.
And if there's a juncture at some point, if you're watching that, if there's a juncture, I can go see where that second vent might go.
Okay. So, are you so you take the time to unbolt the vent then? We've moved the vent cover aside so that you guys can climb in. Who is actually going to be the one to pry or leverage the crate off of the top of the stack?
I don't know that any of us are strong enough for that. It might have to be a group effort.
I have a body of +2.
I mean, I've got a +1, so we can try our best. Like people moving heavy furniture down from a second-story apartment.
I'm bringing up the rear at 0.
Okay. All right. So if you two are doing so, Jet, you can. Are you just taking the time to hide then?
I think so.
Okay. So you climb in the vent first. You two are gonna topple this crate. This all needs to be done quickly. But I would like you. Lex, you've got the primary strength here, so Heather is assisting. Go ahead and make a body roll at advantage.
Ooh.
I was gonna say you can't do better than a 19, but that was a nat 20, baby.
Very
Ooh.
nice.
Nice.
Okay, with a nat 20, I'm gonna say this was fast enough and efficient enough. I'm not gonna make you roll dex to run and dip back into that vent. I'll consider that a success on your guys' part. And as you push this away, you also notice that the doors behind this, because now you can see the top of the door just by a little bit, the doors behind it have been spot welded shut.
Ooh.
They physically, yeah, they fused these doors together on top of
You
barricading
really
them.
didn't want anyone in there.
Mm-mm.
But as this thing clatters to the ground and you leap over it and go sprinting into the vent, somebody grabbing it and sliding the vent cover over, at least, holding on to it best you can. As soon as that hits the ground and you have that noise ring through the hallway, you get an immediate stop of the footsteps. You can hear the servos of the thing's body turn, and then as this thing goes sprinting down the hall, and it stops right in front of this crate. Looks down at the crate, and then looks down the hallway, looks into the crew's quarters, as the door is open now, and begins walking into the crew's quarters, making basically like a very methodical, like, sentry line search of the room in between each of these beds, like basically stepping next to the lockers as it goes on each of these beds as it moves around the space, and then walks back out, turns, shuts the door, and then you're not sure what happens after that point. There's a short sec that things are fairly muffled at your distance, and then it begins walking again.
But it does something outside the door before it starts walking.
Yes. Not anything you could see, but it does.
That's suspicious. You got everything you need there, Jet?
I guess not. But you know me, science type. I don't know. Trying to play it safe with this thing too.
Understandably so. I wonder if we can get back out into the hallway. We can see what it did. I'm gonna try and open the door back out to the hallway.
Okay, so you get over there. You wait for those footsteps to die out again. They have slowed their pace again. And as you open it, this automaton has picked up and repositioned that box. And it's not in the same place. It's not like it's trying to maintain this barricade, but more there's a stack of boxes. Kind of the assumption is he probably picked it up to just put it back on the stack of boxes so it's out of the way, and then kept moving.
Okay.
And once again, you can hear him going down the right shaft at this point.
Okay. So clearly it's part of its programming to maintain this hallway, whether that's maintain the barricade or not. But they are patrolling. I can't imagine that it would have been programmed to just look for us. That seems... Well, you never really know in the outer ring what could happen, so...
Was there a terminal in the crew quarters?
There is a terminal in the crew quarters, yeah. This one's completely devoid of power. Like, there's not even an auxiliary battery running to it right now. Because it's non-essential.
Help me remember these droids and the second type of, I guess, AI assistant that can be aboard these ships. They're basically maintenance and upkeep as the crew needs, right?
Yes. So the AI system that could be integrated with a ship is a little bit more data processing and conversational. They can actually tell you things about the ship or locate a crew member or things like that. Your ship had one. The ship that you guys were flying in the Horizon actually had an integrated AI. The ship, or the automatons that are maintenance, yes, they will do repairs, but they are far more simple beings. They operate off of if-then logic gates, basically. They have to be programmed manually for every decision they make.
I'm thinking we make a break for the right side of the hallway. Try and follow it. If anything, just to continue looking around.
Power core seems to be kind of the lowest common denominator for solving any of the problems we want to solve.
Right.
Okay. You guys are heading down the right side of the hallway?
Yeah, I think if I'm understanding Ash correctly, basically mirroring the or tailing the drone as it's going.
Yeah.
And as long as it doesn't like change course and turn around, we're just going to keep trailing behind it in an attempt to be stealthy enough that we don't trigger it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good. So, give me a dexterity check, Heather, since you called point on this.
18.
Okay. All right. So you wait an appropriate amount of time for you guys to be able to trail behind this thing at a good distance. Based on the consistency of how much you guys have had conversations, quite or not, and then the big crates and things, you're not sure what its recognition of audio is quite yet. So playing it safe, you walk behind it. As you turn the corner on the right side, or as you turn down the right hallway, there is a door immediately to your left. There is a window in this one. And then there's a little bit of a length of hallway, and then it turns... Yeah, so you turn right, and then it goes left, and it continues up, like making the first half of a box that's going to work its way around. As you walk up that hallway, two large doors on the far end of the hallway, that the droid does actually go through. You see him punch the entryway, like entry code box to this door, and it slides open, and the droid walks in, and then the doors close. In that brief glimpse, that's probably the bridge. There was a window to space you just saw just briefly. There's also a door on your left, heading that direction, that also has a window in it. And there is a door on your right, close to the doors to the bridge.
Okay.
But you are...
Should we... Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
no. I guess my next question is, are you avoiding these doors and continuing to follow it through the bridge? Or are you doing something with that information first?
Did we explicitly see it walk past this first door on the left, or go in and out of it, or were we too far behind to be able to see that for sure?
So the only doors that it walked into were the doors to the bridge, which is functionally the end of this hallway. All of these other doors are auxiliary doors, like what you were seeing down the first hallway, where you had access to those other rooms.
So I would probably like tap Heather and Lex on the shoulder and kind of like point at this door, like, let's go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Definitely not following it, but yeah, getting into a different room entirely.
Okay. The doors to... I'll give you just I guess, brief questions here, because there is not a ton of light, but there is more light in the room with those two windows, or the two doors with windows enter the same space. And it looks like you can see they have outer, like, windowed view of space from in there, too. And it looks like a mess hall. Cafeteria space. Because of the light coming through there, from stars and what have you, it is a fucking mess. There is... If you were even just glancing in, I'll give you this before you walk in, so you can make a determination. But the far window that faces space is got what looks like, in D&D terms, I guess, like basically a summoning circle, painted in white across this glass window, like just sigils and ciphers and glyphs and things, much similar to what you saw in that journal, in a circular pattern in that same white paint. And then the rays of, not the rays of the sun on there. What the rays of the sun are manufactured by is the, like, concentric half circle of bodies that are laying and have bled out on the floor in the cafeteria, facing this window. The rest of the cafeteria looks like this was after dinner, like there's still trays and food and things laying about. This space was definitely not evacuated. There was something that happened in there. And this is all before going in, so whether or not you want to walk in and investigate more, you can, or if you want to leave that alone for a minute, you can. But that's what you see.
Okay. Do we go into the creepy death room or no?
I think we probably have to prioritize that power core. I can't imagine any reason that one would be in here. But those symbols, and I'd like flip open to a couple pages of the journal to maybe some of the more obvious ones that would match what's in the journal.
A couple of them do match, yeah, for sure. Or that are easy to pick out, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd show that to the two of you and say, could be helpful, could be not, but there is some kind of matchup here that could tell us something. But that's probably something for later.
Okay. Stick a pin in it, I guess.
Okay. So we press on then, avoiding the mess hall. At that point then, you would be down the hallway to either open the doors to the bridge or open the door to the right of the bridge doors on that hallway.
Tell me if we're not on the same page, guys, but I would imagine we're trying to get into an auxiliary room ahead of the drone coming back out of the bridge. So I would assume we're kind of trying to quickly get to that next one, no?
Yeah.
Yes, the auxiliary room. Also, because I don't think we got a glance of what the actual code for the bridge was.
It didn't look to be locked. It was specific because the automaton just opened a door like you did. It's the only door in this space that it opened on its own volition. The other ones it keeps leaving alone unless it's closing one.
So it's kind of the same as the other doors where it's like push a button to open, push a button to close.
Exactly. Yep. It's just
Okay.
the only one the automaton is actually interacting with.
Yeah.
Or has interacted with so far. But so you're slipping into the auxiliary room.
Yeah, Jet's kind of in like this sort of like survival half panic mode of like shit, we gotta hurry, but like conflicting with that he doesn't make the first move kind of personality.
Okay. So you guys slip into this room right before the bridge. It's captain's quarters.
Oh, okay.
Single bed, desk, light, a terminal that is probably, I mean, you're not sure how much it is connected to within the ship. It could just be a, personal captain's log space. But it is powered up. It is isolated on its own power system. So it has energy. As well, there's a small workstation in this space. And you can see Sunny powered off, kind of laying there. It looks like the captain was probably trying to tinker with it or look at it, but Sunny's a lot more advanced than the automaton that's just giving marching orders around and probably gave up on it. Sunny looks to be intact, just not powered on.
Okay.
Good news, guys. We found Sunny.
Yay! It feels like a win. Definitely heading in there.
Okay.
Try and get our little Robo-Bird back.
Robo-Bird, check the terminal.
Yeah.
Should we
Hey.
divide and conquer?
I mean, this is all the same room, so. But
Yeah.
make whatever calls you are going to. Who's doing what?
I'd probably be trying to get at the terminal specifically and going for overall information / diagnostic that'd be available immediately pertaining to the life support. Might be futile effort, but if we might be able to get any other information other than non-functional, that might be helpful.
Okay. Password protected. You will have to hack into it. But if you want to make a tech roll for me.
I would love to make a tech roll. That's my power stat. All right.
Question for you.
Yes.
Is there a vent in this room?
There is a vent in this room. Difficult to locate, but if you're specifically asking, yes, it is.
I am
It is-
looking for vents in every room now.
Okay, it can be seen from underneath the workstation.
The tech roll is a 17.
Very nice. Okay, so you manage to take a second. You tap into this terminal. Unfortunately, it is isolated and not connected to the grid itself of like system diagnostics for the ship. However, there's a good number of interesting pieces of information you have on here. One of which is the thing that pops up first is confirmation of an external data transmission to the basically IP address that would link to your ship that was taken as downloaded downloaded memory banks of you three. The timing on it reads about an hour and a half ago. And it's just kind of the finished, like, download complete thing beeping on the screen once you open it up. Apart from that, there are also audio logs of, or not audio logs, sorry, transmission logs that were intercepted from your ship about the transmission that you guys were going after. The transmission that was sent was not these guys that you were going to search for. It was something else, and they intercepted the transmission that you got. And there's information on them extrapolating data from that transmission to go find it. Whatever it was, they wanted it too, and they were willing to take your data to do so.
Okay. There's one question, and then I don't want to take up too much time, so I'll let Lex and Heather continue as well. The downloaded memory banks, was it specifically of just us three and not the fourth or captain?
The fourth was not present. The captain's data was, if you're looking through the individual transfers, the captain's data did not finalize. There was basically a failure part of the way through it. So either captain's dead or something's corrupted in the file. But the fourth crew member's information, there is no download for.
Hey guys, there's a lot of information to go through, but I'm pretty sure Sonny can help us out with all of that if we can get him going.
Okay. Let me see if I can reboot him.
Yeah, so you take a second to reboot him. You don't need a roll for that just because you're familiar with how to do so. But yeah, Sonny kind of whirs to life and stands back up and looks up at you, and there is some kind of positive affirmations and the little like terrible dial tones that come out of him as he vocalizes things. But he is functional, and he seems to be chipper about it. Nothing wrong with him currently. I do need somebody, I don't know if anybody did, to roll a d4 for me for that particular bird.
Oh. It has a 3.
Okay, not bad. So that bird has 3 HP. So you are in charge of keeping track of that. But yeah,
okay.
3 HP is its max. But yeah, it
got it.
Whirs to life and looks at the three of you and kind of chitters and bobs up and down.
Just doing bird things.
Yeah, just doing bird things. Jet, what were you going to have it? What were you asking it?
Hey, Magic.
What am I asking it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know you just mentioned that some of that could be interpreted if we got the bird back up and running. So now that the is up.
Sonny, I've got some new yummy data for you. And I'm just going to point at the terminal.
Okay. Are you just having it download everything that you've got present there?
Let's see. Confirmation of external data transmissions to our ship. I'm assuming if that's timestamped, it would have been more recent than everything else, probably the most recent timestamp.
Absolutely the most recent of anything that you've deduced so far. It was also an automated process.
Yeah, so I'm going to assume that is information about / housed on this ship for things that they've been doing, that I would absolutely love him to download.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear on that information, because the things that were transmitted, that external transmission out to your ship, that was the memory download from the three of you.
Oh, that's all that was transmitted?
Correct. That's all that was pulled. They just wanted to know what you knew, and they sent it off.
Gotcha. Well, I think I still wanted to download that because it's possible that they could have like piecemealed what they wanted to use as information, so that might be helpful. If I can, I'm just gonna say everything.
Sure.
So at least we have evidence that, and the other thing was it can essentially be used as evidence that they intercepted us before we got to our destination, and that they were not in fact the destination.
Okay.
Of the signal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you grab that info. And Sunny takes the time to plug in and download everything from the terminal. And yeah, I think that is functional. There is a little pop-up on the terminal once the download is complete. Because of the information that was present on the drive, Sunny is basically at capacity. You would have to start dumping pieces if you needed to download other stuff later.
Fair.
Okay. Does that have impact on his ability to learn and interpret glyphics?
Not necessarily. It can, depending on the complexity of what he needs to retain. If he's interpreting something he already knows, no. But if he needs to store more data in order to interpret and learn, potentially.
Okay, so then understanding that, I'll just very quickly open to maybe a handful of the first few pages of this journal and ask Sunny if anything on there looks familiar or interpretable based on his existing memory banks.
Okay. Heather, how many times has this little bird gone out to adventure with you?
I would like to say that I would have argued for the majority of the time.
Okay.
Just so that I have a second set of eyes on whatever I'm trying to research and acknowledge out there.
Okay. Sounds good. For the bird to be successful in what it is doing, I need you to roll higher than a 13 straight 20.
Who do you need this from?
Let's have Jet roll that one.
Okay.
Is that a straight D20 you said?
Straight D20.
20.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yes, it does recognize them. Having not maybe not had the time to sit down and look at this journal yourself, Heather, the bird recognizes the similarities from some previous archaeological digs. Also out in the similar area as I believe it's Rimtasar 581 is the area that was near the location that you were heading towards. But you've been there once or twice. A lot of your projects are like larger asteroids and meteors and things, actually touching down on broken pieces of stuff as opposed to like planetary digs, because a lot of this stuff is older or fragmented of stuff that we haven't explored yet. And there are a couple of these glyphs and stuff that the bird can translate, and the bits that it can make out of this journal for you, Jet, is that there is it's basically talking about like universal rebirth of, or not rebirth, mistranslation, a replacement of the atrophy that is inevitable. It is it's almost written like it's not quite scripture. It's a little bit more poetry than scripture, but it seems to boil down to the void is the answer. It's not empty. It's here to here to fill the space that is rapidly increasing within the universe, and it's the excitement of discovering that this atrophy can be reversed by utilizing the void to fill the gap. You also get the title of the New Dawn in these glyphs, but that's about all you can make out of what is present.
Okay. Potentially interesting information about the people that we've encountered, but not functionally helpful for here and now.
Yeah, not from that journal. No.
Okay. Well, we don't have anything from this that we need right now.
Okay.
But I guess if we end up at nothing but dead ends, at least we have a means to open that welded door.
Mm-hmm.
True. Okay. Any final items within this room before we set a course for elsewhere?
I just wanted to take a quick glance over the workstation and see if there was anything worth of note that we might be able to take with us.
Yeah, there are, there's not necessarily any fancier tools, but there are finer electronic components. So, like, if you wanted to pocket a bunch of, like, the spare parts, you could feasibly have the replacement parts for, like, if you had to fix a, mildly damaged terminal or a wound from Sunny, you could.
I think I'll try and take as much of the scrap as I can, and if there's even like some sort of a receptacle to dump this into, like maybe like a bag or something, so I don't have to just like carry it all. I have like cargo pants on, but
yeah,
I don't want to be jingling around.
I'll grant you a small, like basically like workman's pouch that you would like, find on the side of a tool belt.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'll just like tie that off. Be good to go.
Perfect. All right. So, are we heading on to the bridge? Or what is the plan?
We listen for the footsteps first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. From this side of the space, you can't hear the footsteps. Functionally, they are probably moving around the other side of the loop right now, because it walks in a circle.
If we're gonna go, we should go now.
Let's do it.
Is Sunny coming with you? Is that?
Can we put Sunny in silent mode? Just tell Sunny shh.
Yeah, you can ask it to be quiet, but it has the potential to make noise.
Okay.
Just wondering if we're assuming that it's coming with, or if you're leaving it in this space. Yeah. Like, okay, just checking.
So just have a little pep talk with it to tell it, like, we're playing the quiet game right now. There is something out there that we don't know how bad it is.
This is our emotional support robot bird.
Yes.
Okay. So, out of here and into the bridge. As soon as you step into the bridge, I guess a couple notes as you walk out, you actually take like half a flight of steps down until you actually get onto the bridge deck, because just behind you is the glass that connects to the cantina. So like the cantina is outward facing too and overlooks the bridge.
Oh.
And then the bridge is just below it where all the control center stuff is. As you walk in, there's two things of note. One of those empty air canisters. You can see it is sitting in the middle of a broken communications array. Like the actual like console that you would use to use it. Yeah, somebody just took one of these air canisters and just smashed it and then left it there. Didn't pulverize it, but it is pretty heavily damaged. And then the other thing you note, which is probably the most concerning, is there is a power cell for a diamagnetic fusion reactor that is quite literally duct taped to the outside glass of the bridge, with a big white sun painted on the glass and a smiley face inside of it. So this power cell is staring at you from the outside of the ship, and it's right there, but no way to actually touch it.
I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Fuck Maxillian.
That is a very specific taunt. Not cool.
It is an incredibly specific taunt.
I'm saying that in and out of character.
Yep.
So we gotta find an airlock and get out there, right? Obviously, like, find some air canisters for suits.
We have suits. We have air canisters. Just no air.
Right.
Over the table, would there... Well, no. I should ask Lex this as the ship expert. Lex, do you think there's any sort of storage and compression system that we could potentially find to fill a can we already have? Or do we need to find a filled one?
There's usually something like that that's hooked up with life support, either around the airlock wherever the docking is for suits, or in the actual life support or power station. But that requires life support, which we currently do not have, as you can tell from the increasingly stale air.
And we don't have that because of lack of power.
What a fun cycle we're in.
An incredibly specific taunt.
Now, if... Fuck. Continue doing whatever your guys are doing on the bridge. I'm looking something up before I actually say something.
Okay. Can I check the capacity of the air canister that was used to kind of destroy the comm system in here? See if it's like not damaged enough that it might be usable and it might actually have some air in it.
Yeah. It is... I mean, it's usable. These canisters are sturdy. But it has maybe 5 or 6 minutes of air in it. Like, it's mostly dead.
Okay.
These are normally hour-long canisters. Or at capacity, actually, if it's meant to connect to your suit, usually they're about 6-7 hours worth of air in a cycled, like, fully functional suit. This one's almost dead.
Okay. I didn't even check the capacity of the one that I grabbed in the cryopod area. I kind of just assumed it wasn't working,
did
but
you set it back down?
I feel like I would have like still had it. I don't think I would have gotten rid of it.
So if you're carrying that one along too, it's about the same. No more than 5-10 minutes. That's
Okay.
about it. You're getting like piecemeal amounts of oxygen in each of these.
I think I'll stick with the one that has the highest current capacity or current
the one that you're
amount.
carrying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quietly ask Sunny. are you able to interface with and repurpose a basic function of a ship droid?
Sunny would shake its head at that. Um, it's gonna look at you, and it's looking at you, and then it's looking back at the glass, and it's looking at you, and then it shakes its head no at the question, and then it looks back at the glass, and it hops up, and it sits, and it kind of taps on the smiley face, like looking at the power core.
Not without power, baby.
Well, I guess as a last resort, guys, we could always try to send him out there.
I'd be a little afraid of him just accidentally kicking off and not being able to make it back. If it comes to it, I can go out there. It's fine. I don't need as much oxygen as most other people, so one of those canisters, this pitiful amount of oxygen in here might be okay, depending on where the airlock is.
I'm going to specifically search on a whim for any sort of airlock that might be in the bridge. Long shot, I know. But any sort of way, I guess, to access the outer hull from this room. Above us, below us.
From this room?
Yes.
You cannot find one. However,
Okay.
with looking at the bridge and how it is organized, there's the steps down that you came in from the right side of this loop. There are steps back up in parallel on the left side that go up to the doors that head up to the left hallway down the loop. Feasibly, that's the only spot that you have not explored so far. If you're looking for an airlock, it's probably either in that area or you missed it in the cargo hold.
Okay.
Two things. Where are the vents? Second thing, what are the other terminals looking like? Listen, I'm gonna find every single vent in this goddamn ship.
Hell yeah.
The vent in the bridge is in the ceiling.
Fuck that vent.
And you can actually watch, because the vent's in the ceiling, you can almost see the shaft move up and around and connect directly through, like, the mess hall and go forward. Because, like, the glass, this space domes upward, so you can kind of, out of the periphery of, like, looking back, you can see the direction that vent goes. There's probably another connecting point that'll get you very quickly from, like, the mess to the bridge and back and forth, and then on back further.
So logically speaking, if it's in the vent and it goes up and over them through the mess, would it follow the same path as that main hallway?
Not, I mean, I guess in parallel, yes. It wouldn't be, it's in the center of the ceiling, and either of these hallways are going to be on the far sides of the bridge, which is, you know, fairly wide, all things considered, for the kind of sparse lack of tech in here, but...
Well, like the direct hallway that we came down from cargo.
It would at least be
before
parallel
coming to the
to,
loop.
yeah.
Okay.
You guys are going to see Jet sort of go into this mode of, like, quietly puzzling to himself and, like, wringing his fingers around almost like he's, like, tinkering with something, but nothing's in his hands. And he's just kind of, like, in this verbal loop of, well, we could do this, but we don't have that. Well, we could do this, but that thing wants to kill us, or at least it might. We don't really know. We could try to figure that out, but...
Jet, I mean, one thing at a time, buddy. Terminals. Let's see what we have access to here on the bridge.
Terminals. Okay. And then I'm going to help continue looking for anything that might be still functional at all.
Okay. The
I would like to
terminals.
do just a general search after.
Okay. So if you're looking through information on the terminals, there is another like personal data entry terminal that is powered up and isolated from the grid that you can get into. The main ship controls are down, but this one does function, and the information that you glean from that is talking about several journal entries of searching the sector around Rimtursar 581 for information regarding some particular relic. And they can't find it, and it's getting more frustrating, and things are, everybody's persevering, but nobody's particularly pleased with the progress because they know it's out here, but everything is so littered in space debris. There's not there's no way to really locate it. And then one final entry that is just revelation, having accidentally stumbled across your ship having received a transmission within the same area that they are looking for, and it's too precise for it to be any kind of coincidence. So it talks about the conversations between this person and the captain about hijacking the ship and taking that to the location, because it's easier than searching through needles in a haystack. And then some frustration about how the hell you even got the transmission. But that's what you're getting from that.
I'm getting, I gotta say, if anybody's seen Book of Eli, I'm getting major Book of Eli vibes, Space Edition, out of this
Amazing.
so far.
Yeah, a little bit, actually. I haven't seen Book of Eli in like a decade.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. I love that movie.
More personal information, some insight into their motives and beliefs, I guess, and things, but again, nothing helpful functionally for us right now.
Yep. All of these notes are signed off Vil Butcher as well. Not that it may make a note at this point, but that's the person who's been talking to the captain.
Hey, Jet, do you see anything in there that says anything about why they had to take our ship and why they couldn't just intercept the transmission themselves?
Well, this person goes on and on about some kind of revelation and the perfect timing and coincidence about intercepting our ship and learning that we had received a signal in the exact space that they were searching for whatever this relic is. I don't know, the whole thing between that and the cipher we've got so far from this journal all seems frankly very religious to me. Kind of religious zealot in a way.
Unfortunate that they still believe in that kind of thing.
The other unfortunate thing that y'all didn't realize is the bridge is soundproof, and about as you finish this conversation, you hear the button press and the open from the right side hallway of those doors sliding open, and the droid walking in, and there is a brief moment where it walks in to scan the area as it's noticing the three of you. I am pausing in that moment to see, what are y'all doing?
I think Heather would kind of hold up her hands, but then point at it, and just yell, "State your programming, android." What are you here for?
You get no response. There's no audio that has left this thing the entire time that it's been walking around. It's very much just moving. You're not even sure if it understood you.
Shit.
I'm gonna say we move.
Yeah, I'm gonna like if that is the
Yeah.
time, if you took the time to actually throw out a full sentence and a half at it, this thing is sprinting,
Oh no.
barreling down those steps, and at the three of you, I need dex checks from all of you.
Oof. Is that my negative? I think that's my negative. That's my negative. Nope.
I think I got a 10.
Solid 9.
Oh no.
Hey, bud. How you doing?
It's been cool playing this game with y'all. Oh no.
Okay. So we got a 10 and 9,
Sorry.
and what did you roll, Heather?
Oh, I got the 10.
Oh, you got a 10. Jet was it
9.
9?
9.
9. Okay. I'll give you the choice, because you all are scrambling out and are friends. Who's stumbling to get the other person out of the door faster? Who's taking
Get the
hit?
fuck out, Jet.
Okay, done and done. So Lex shoves Jet through the right side doors, which is the hallway you guys have not explored yet, as Heather barrels in front of you guys. And as you do, this automaton runs up behind you, grabs Lex by like the back of the suit, and just picks her up and like hurls her across the bridge as the door
God.
shuts behind. Lex, you are taking 3 points of damage from that.
Oh.
Chunky.
Christ.
Go ahead, and we're gonna do things in initiative order for this. So I would like everybody. Let me remind myself here on initiative. Is in here. Good lord, where did it go? Because I can't remember exactly how they function it in this, but trying to find combat.
I think it's
Combat,
just a-
there we go. Initiative and turn order. Okay. The one who initiates the conflict begins the first combat round. Well,
F.
Robot did
Oh
that.
yeah, and then you choose.
And then they
It's-
choose, yep, who goes next. So each person actually declares the next
Shit.
person in the turn order.
Yeah.
So in this case, I'm going to defer that to the person with the highest dex roll then. Heather,
Oh no.
what
Okay.
are you up to in that moment?
Slight panic considering that the door just shut behind us and our friend was thrown across the room. I feel like Heather would try and like run back down the hallway to the other door that the android just came in from, to try and like meet up with Lex and try and get her out of there.
Okay, sure. That'll take your turn.
Yeah.
Taking the time to sprint around the space. We will see how that transpires at the end of it. Sure. Who are you deferring to at this point?
To Jet, since he's the only one that I can see right now.
Okay.
Missed something. Heather, you're going in to help Lex, right?
By
Yeah.
running around the ring, basically. She's doing a full loop back by and going in through
Oh.
the captain's quarters.
Yeah, because there's two doors in, right? It's the
Right.
bridge is big enough that there's the door that we came in and the door that we just came out of. So trying to get back out to the other one.
I guess the best thing I can really do is, Sonny, help me find a weapon, and like sprint off to the next room I can find, I suppose, because I don't have anything to use.
Okay. There are two notes on this hallway. There is an airlock, and there is a single storage door, smaller than the rest of the rooms. This is like maintenance broom closet.
Perfect.
Give me a roll for me. Just a d20. I'm just curious as to what you find in there.
That is a 9.
It is a 9. Okay. Okay. So that is a weapon. Good there. Melee combat. Okay. What you end up snagging is, it's not ideal, but it looks like a very, very long-handled, I want to call it like a socket wrench, but it's not. It's more for like replacing light bulbs above without a ladder. But it's been like refitted with an old pipe because the handle was broken. So you basically got like a 4.5-foot length of steel pipe.
Okay.
You're looking at D4 damage for it.
Okay.
On hit. Which Heather, the handgun is a D6 on successful hit for a turn.
Cool. Thank you.
That would bring us on to Lex before the bot rounds up the turn. Dat Magic and Meg, you both also have a void point for the fail on that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Now that we're actually in this, we're going to start racking those up.
Sick.
I gotta go back to void points and catch up on that while you guys are doing your turns.
So, Android is now focused on me. He's turning around to... Okay. Not knowing that Heather has gone around the back way. I was going to lead this thing on a full-blown chase.
Amazing.
Okay. I mean, do what you're going to do. You've got no idea.
I have no idea, so I am getting to my feet and opening this door behind me.
Barreling... Okay, so you get to your feet, move to the door, and open it, barreling down the hallway. Bot is close in tow. I would like a dex check from you, because I need to see if you can outrun the thing, or if it's going to catch up next turn.
Let's find out. A 12?
I was looking for a 14. That's another void point.
Oh my god.
However, as you barrel down this hallway, Heather has rounded the corner by where the mess hall is and is running up the hallway.
About face and just...
Bot directly behind Lex. Before the bot has a chance to take a swing, if you want to risk it, if you want to make any action, Heather, you are at range for a shot on the robot, but you've got Lex standing between you, which is potential for failure. That's up to you. Or I can just move on to the bot's turn. Like, if you want to react and shoot at it, you can. But you might hit Lex if you fail.
Oh no.
No.
I want to note that in the initiative and turn order, the last person to act chooses who begins the next round.
Okay, good to know.
In this case, it would have been me.
Yeah.
The bot started the round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you ended the round. This is entirely reactionary to the failed decks, is what I'm providing here.
Okay.
Because it's either there will be closer consequences when the bot's turn is up, or Heather can try to reaction this before the next round starts.
Oh God. Yeah, I think I am gonna try and take a couple shots at this this robot, and just try and wait for like a clear window where Lex isn't in the way.
Okay.
Reasonable.
Yep.
All right. So go ahead and make a reaction roll for me for that.
Okay. How do I do this? What am I doing?
Apologies.
Okay.
Ranged, you're shooting with a gun. It is a tech. You're rolling tech for that.
Okay. That's a 10.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do for that. Because we've had bits to your benefit, and I have more plans, so we're gonna prolong some pain instead of just letting Meg get shot in the chest.
Yeah, I'd really rather not kill my friend here.
Because that was a fail.
Fuck.
Again, for this bot, I'm looking for a 14 on most things against it.
Okay.
So,
that dice is going in jail. Goodbye.
you take a couple shots, and two of them just barely rip past Lex, like shredding the side of her suit, and going straight past the bot. You didn't hit the bot, you hit the bridge glass.
Fuck.
And as hardy as this glass is, direct hit inside this space, there is just the faintest of a fracture. But it's definitely there.
Okay. Cool.
Also, Lex's suit is not able to withhold pressure or air or anything. So, now, that being said, Lex, you are top of the round, or you are able to determine who is top of the round. That was just the end of the last one.
Listen, the proper way to do this would be to choose me, fucking duck, and then choose Heather so that she can shoot the fucking bot.
You are able to make the choice. That's up to you. Suppose
Powers in your hands.
at your location too, you could always technically dip into the captain's quarters. But you would leave Heather alone in there.
I would be leaving Heather alone. And I ain't that person.
Are you sure about that?
Look,
I did just accidentally almost shoot you.
I played the selfish character in the last miniseries. This time we're selfless. I think I am actually going to choose me
Okay.
to start it off.
Good call.
But with this, I am going to duck down and see if I can't fucking just trip this damn thing up. Basically, duck down and go for the legs.
Okay. So go ahead and make a body roll for me.
I put my other die in jail. We're going to roll the gate dice today.
Yeah.
It's
It's
relevant.
15.
Very nice. Okay. Roll your
Thank you, gay
damage.
dice. Yes. Pride Month. Fuck yeah.
Happy Pride.
Or
The pride dice have spoken.
Let me ask this. Are you trying to do damage, or are you trying to get it on the ground? Either one's your call.
On the ground.
Okay. So, you duck and spin to the bot, and very deliberately have to grab it by the leg, like put the wrench behind it, grab both hands, and just yank as hard as you can to pull it up off the ground, and send the bot onto its ass. At that point, we get a little bit of distance from it, and it's going to have a little bit of trouble getting back up. So it is currently still on the ground as you pass the turn to somebody else. But it took no damage from that.
We'll throw it to Heather.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking for appropriately colored pride dice.
Okay.
Yeah, now that Lex is clear, gonna try and line up another shot. I am gonna try and like position myself like on the right side of the doorway, so I'm not aiming like past this thing into the window again. Just trying to hit anything else other than the window if I happen to fail.
Okay. So, a couple notes for you, because combat, I don't know, this is all a new system to everybody. One of the options you have is taking the damage as a risky attack, which if you succeed, you deal more damage. But if you fail, you expose yourself to direct counterattack from it.
Okay.
And you only have 1 round worth of combat left in that pistol, which is
Right.
why I mentioned that. So
Okay.
that's up to you.
Why not? Let's do it. Let's go risky.
Okay. So in order to avoid the window and really make sure that you're pegging this bot, making sure that it's down for the count, you've got to get up close to it, and you're firing down on it as it's trying to scramble up. Go ahead and make a tech roll for me.
Okay, come on, gay dice. Sweet God, that's a 21.
Very good. Okay. Now, with a risky attack, that is going to be... Oh, I just had it. I gotta stop closing the book while I'm in the middle of something. That is
I
going
do that
to
with
be...
browser tabs all the time. Like, no, I'm done with this. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, wait a second, I needed that.
So you're going to roll 2d6 for this instead of the 1.
Okay.
Doubles that dice.
So first one is a 2, second one is a 3.
5.
Yeah.
Okay. A heavy hit. You unload probably 3 rounds directly into its chest. And you can see the sparks and the kind of whir of the gears as this thing is... you see one of its arms is now immobilized, as it's just one of the servos just completely stopped functioning. And it goes limp for a second before it manages to kind of reroute its power and reassess things, but it's not paying attention to you in the same way as it is trying to run diagnostics on itself. If you want to avoid the situation, I will allow you all the opportunity to leave. Or, you can retreat from this space and go continue on. Or you can pass the turn.
Ooh. Oh God. Considering one of our friends here is hurt, I would probably try and get out of there and lock the door behind me if I could. I don't know if I can do that.
I mean, you're in
We're
the
still technically in the hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, tight. Okay, yeah. Then shutting that door for sure, just to try and get out of there.
Back to the bridge? Is that the goal? Or
this thing is still in the bridge, right? The robot is
No,
still in.
it's
this
in the
thing
hall
is
with
in the
us.
hallway with us.
Fuck. Okay, then
Like, you're basically at the corner of the hall.
Right.
And
Okay.
we're right there in the
Okay.
hallway.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, just trying to gather where everyone is and just retreat. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, may I narrate a little bit then?
Yes,
just so
absolutely.
we're all reoriented. Okay, because
Perfect.
you know where Jet was, because you both ended up getting shoved through the space. So if Jet's on that side of things, Jet, would you have been running back into the bridge, or were you hesitating there?
I would have been running back in, yeah.
Okay.
I had a plan if the conflict was still going on by the time it came to my turn.
Okay. Follow-up question. What did Jet anticipate doing, or what was Jet's reaction to see a bullet ricochet across the bridge glass? Like, you run down into there, and then across the way you see, like, shots fired hit and crack this glass.
Yeah, probably like a duck and cover, even if it's like nowhere near me, because like physical conflict scares me immensely. But with the adrenaline rush, my idea, I'm speaking in first person now as Jet. My idea was to try my very damnedest to use the pipe in such a way that I could like physically jam this thing. Like physically disable it without destroying it, because Jet's in we have to figure out a way to use this thing kind of mode. So I'm like really conflicted with, we don't want to die, but like this is probably the most valuable resource we have at the moment on this ship other than Sunny.
Okay. All right. So what you would have seen then is this robot goes down. You go up the stairs to enact whatever form of plan that you had while this robot is on the ground, a couple bullets in its chest. You can see clear damage and sparks, and it's kind of trying to reassess. As you see Heather grab Lex and barrel down the hallway, turning the corner feasibly to go back to you as you round to see the bot. With them retreating, are you going to continue on with your plan, or are you going to let it be and go regroup?
We'd probably have one of those like meet at the corner, so to speak, and like moments, and then oh shit, go! And I would actually follow them to keep retreating then.
Okay, so we're gonna say you all make it back to the left hallway, which is the new one to you, the one with the single storage room and the airlock. There are no other doors in this space.
Sunny with us.
But the three of you have a moment to breathe. And you are also... Lex is injured, and you have now functionally explored the whole ship. You've done a full loop. Now somebody's got to start making plans, or finding a place to sit and chill.
Where are we going? In here? Going back? What do you guys want to do?
Just panicking with an empty gun, like
That
Been pointing that thing at me.
the welded door is the only thing we have left, right? We don't have any other new places to try to find something useful, and we're kind of out of options on things to try, are we not?
Oh God.
We looked in the airlock to see if there's any spare canisters.
Let's check it out really quick.
Okay.
Well, that thing is still recalibrating. Yeah.
All right.
Just don't get locked in.
Heather, you made the call. We're going to use my favorite Bastion Land rule, which is luck.
Oh, no.
Go ahead and roll a d6 for me.
Okay.
Oh no.
How's a 2 for you?
Well, I mean, it's fine for me, but it's not great for you.
Okay.
You open the airlock. There are 2 suits present that you could use to attach a canister to, but there is no oxygen in here.
Okay. Okay. Shit.
In
We should
fact,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to make this worse. Um, in fact, now that I'm thinking of it, this airlock would have been probably vented recently, and without the life support going, opening that door has now caused air to flood into the space, which, like, the air hasn't escaped, but you've just thinned it out across the ship because that room previously had no air before you opened the door.
Okay, that just means we need to work faster, I guess. Shit, okay. We really need that power cell. And the only way that I can think of getting that is going out there and getting it.
The option you provided prior, in theory, the bird can lift the power cell. So
It's just taped to the window.
True.
It does also have a laser capable of, going through small amounts of metal up to.
Fair.
So,
It could also go through the glass.
yeah, depending on how precise it can be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on getting into that welded shut door
Okay.
as kind of like the last ditch before the actual worst case scenario option.
The only way we're going to be able to do that is if we actually incapacitate that thing and get enough time.
Or convince it that it shouldn't be attacking us.
I don't know that it's
And-
intelligent enough to make that decision.
Unless you found something on those terminals that could correlate to anything with its commands.
Nothing that's powered on right now.
The only thing I could think of would be to tell it that we're here to help it save the ship. It's got to be on some kind of survival protocol. Or at least I would assume so.
You would think.
It depends on how advanced it is, because older models are strictly if-then. Very much, I give you a designated series of tasks, and when something happens, this happens. And some
Right.
of them actually have larger scale coded procedures.
Okay. Guess the question is how we do that. Try and lock it somewhere. Really, the only room I can think of to do that is a bridge because it has 2 entry points. Or a room that has a vent.
We've cleared out the crew quarters. It's the closest thing to that area. But we know it has a vent. Captain quarters has a vent.
Mm-hmm.
We still need to get into cryo. And we still need access to the engine room. We're in the storage closet right now, right?
That's up to you. If this is the conversation
Are-
you're having, you might be able to just be walking towards the crew's quarters. But what was your question, Lex?
Listen, I'm looking for vents, man.
There is no vent in the storage closet. There was also no vent in the airlock.
Fair.
We also haven't really gone through the mess hall.
And you have not investigated the mess hall.
Right.
From the sounds of it, if we're in the hallway, is it up and moving again, or is it still?
It's scrambling, but it seems to be getting back to its feet about now.
It's starting to get back to its feet, so
It's standing at this point, but just barely, or has just barely stood up.
I think we wait a few minutes.
Okay.
We shut the air. Obviously, when we shut the airlock first.
Good call.
Um, let's wait a few minutes, see if it just goes back on its path or if it starts moving with a purpose.
Okay.
Okay. So you sit and wait. You listen. And are you in the opposite hallway, or are you? Did you find a room? I don't care either way. Just somebody make a call.
We ran into each other at the opposite hallway. I don't know if
Right.
anybody specifically said
where
that
we're
we've
at.
moved from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might just
So
still be chilling.
that's fair. You guys ended up just kind of having a conversation in the opposite hallway outside the airlock. You can hear this
It's
thing
probably
get up.
fair to keep visual on the automaton too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can see it standing up and everything.
Feasibly, I mean, unless if you want to go back to the other hallway, you can.
Oh.
You are in the opposite hallway this robot is right now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So the way where the robot currently is like right outside the door on the right hand side of the bridge, because it was right there that it went down, because that's where Heather shot past it.
And then you guys are in the left hallway
Now-
that connects to the bridge.
Now we are in the left hand hallway on the other side of it.
I think it makes sense that we're still there.
Okay. So you listen for a minute, waiting for this, waiting to see what happens with this automaton. And it stands up. There's a brief moment of pause. And then it functionally sounds like it starts proceeding with its route.
So it's going into the bridge now.
Yep, which means it would be heading towards you, but not necessarily with intent.
Okay, then let's move because it is going back on its route.
Okay, where are you heading?
Probably crew quarters.
Okay.
Try and set up and
Mm-hmm.
work on getting that barricaded door open.
Okay, so you guys go into the room, close yourself within the crew's quarters, and you wait, and you can kind of hear the automaton do its loops as it does. Seems to have kind of returned to its normal path. The saunter or the gait of its walk is a little different now, but
So I've got a suggestion.
Okay.
If it comes to trying to get into that closed off room, there's vents in every main room of this ship. What we can do is we know that there are two vents in that power room. Can one of us, or at least one of us, can start trying to map out what that pathway looks like? And if there's a way we can at least see inside that room, if there's a vent into there, then we'll have an idea of what it is.
Okay.
And then we can decide whether or not it's really worth trying to break in there.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great idea. Who wants to volunteer? I mean,
nobody raised
Well-
your hand all at once.
what are you thinking, Jet?
I guess if I were to manage to find a pathway into there through the vents, I could try to get in right then and there and start getting at the tech to figure out what's going on and how we can fix things a little more quickly.
But we don't know what's in that room is
Right.
the problem. We don't know if there's tech. We don't know if it's life support.
I thought we said it was a power room.
The power room is the one in the maintenance shaft.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
you guys have no concept of what is actually in that room yet.
Gotcha.
I mean, do we all want to get into the vents and see if it splits off in different ways? Or do we just want one person to go and do a recon mission here? What do we... I'm just going to volunteer that Lex does not go just because you look like you're hurting. Also, your suit's fucked, so we gotta fix that.
Yeah,
Jet-
I'm ditching. Are we in light EVA suits or are we in heavies?
While you were on the ship, you would have just been in light.
So the ones that were in the airlock would have been heavies.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Do we
if
wanna
it's
just-
shredded with no immediate way to like deal with patching it, Lex is just fucking ditching the suit. Honestly.
Fair enough. Okay. Sunny sits and kind of is waiting for somebody to make a call. Kind of registering what you're saying and looking over at the vents too, offering himself as a fourth option, but
We don't have a way to monitor you, Sonny.
you do in the captain's quarters.
Ooh, do. And didn't you say that there was a vent in there, Lex? You found one?
Yeah.
There was one.
This is looking like our best option here. It's going to be a long way to get from that vent to whatever this closed off door is, but at least we
Wait.
could monitor Sunny. We send them in there.
Yeah, so let's wait for it to start making its round and follow it path and back.
Okay.
Also, I'm rescinding my terrible idea. I'm keeping the suit on.
Jet, didn't you find some duct tape? Can't we just do a haphazard patch here?
We have
Think we
duct
can?
tape?
Yeah, he did find duct tape.
As long as
Can
the tear's not like too big.
Nah, they're
I think
grazing.
Okay. I don't think
Small
it can
tears
hurt.
at the moment. Dope. Yeah, so take some duct tape as you're walking, patch that up, and very quickly
Oh.
move your way into.
Question first.
Yes.
So standard with the EVA suits is a can of repair foam. Are those gone?
Yep. It would have been on an external belt.
Dang it.
But you all make it to the captain's quarters. Quietly hurrying along, close the door, manage to sit yourself down in it. Now, you're going to have to do this quick. Isolated, this terminal does not have a ton of power. It's on its own personal battery, but doesn't look like it was ever turned off because it had to do downloads of all of your information. So it is... it's starting to get low power, but you can basically you can tap into it to transmit data between Sunny and that terminal. So you have audio or you have visual, and you can still issue simple commands through it, through basically like text strings of code, but nothing too intense. Are you sending it through the vent in this room then? Underneath the workbench?
I think so.
Okay.
Is there a way to simplify the data that we receive from Sunny, if anything, to try and conserve power? I would assume that anything like retrieving the visuals from Sunny might be depleting the power faster than if it was just like lines of text. So asking it to just provide descriptions of what it finds versus actually being able to see it.
Okay.
If anything, just for preservation of power.
Yeah,
you can line through the hole.
just text back and forth. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go to do so. You set up the terminal to respond to its input as well as your own, and send Sunny down the shaft. I understand you are trying to figure out what is in that spare room.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right, go ahead and roll a d20 for me. Your challenge on this would be... where did it go? 13. No modifiers.
Okay. Am I doing that, or is anyone else specifically wishing to do this?
Oh, you.
Could I do it use
okay.
use a void point for advantage? I know it's not quite fitting the ability check description of that, but
I'll grant it. Yeah.
okay. And advantage is the same as usual, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Are those both bad?
The first one was a 1. The second one was a 15.
Okay. So advantage succeeded, which is good. Let's see.
Do I make the void roll right away?
Well, let's see. Well, no, this says if a void point is spent to gain advantage and the roll fails.
That's it.
So you rolled a 15, you're still good.
And then, so the last thing I'm not quite clear on, it's the language on void points suggests kind of both things to me as a weird rules person. Is the void point now gone, or does it remain and accumulate?
Let's see.
Considering it says spent.
Yeah, it's gone.
That kind of implies.
Okay. Okay. Sweet.
Yep. So, yeah, you take some time helping to navigate Sunny, and you can find... You're pretty confident that you found the location of where this space is connected to, at least locationally, and you're left with a choice. There does not seem to be a vent connecting to this room, so most likely it's something auxiliary, not particularly necessary. Or at least not necessary that it needs to support life.
Interesting.
Airlocks are necessary, but they don't have vents. You can leave that alone and try to get into it the normal way. Or you can set Sunny on the task of trying to cut into it where it is confident that the connecting space would be, but it would take it time. Or you can try to move stuff and just go straight through the door and have it cut through that instead. Like, it's...
The safer option is just to let it try to do the connecting space.
In the vent?
Yeah.
I'm on board with that.
Same.
Okay. So, it begins cutting. And it's going to take some time to cut through this. It's also worth noting that while you guys are really focused in on this, you haven't heard the droid in a bit. And then you kind of wait on that tension, not having heard the droid for a bit. And then slowly but surely it does continue to walk down the hallway and pass your door again as in normal routine. But there was a couple of minutes where it just kind of, you lost any kind of tracking for it entirely.
Okay.
Is
At
it?
least as far as its normal movement.
Does it sound like it's moving more slowly, or?
Not more slowly, but the gate is different. Like, it sounds damaged.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, it takes... Well, let me ask this. Is anybody doing anything while you are waiting for for Sunny to cut through the panel, or are you going to wait the full time for that and just hide out in here?
I'm gonna be honest. The player me is out of ideas.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. So, the
Yeah,
panel...
I'm cool with waiting.
I would like to investigate the mess hall. That's what I would like to do.
Okay. You are close by if you want to go that direction. Is anybody going with?
We probably have to have one of us here to just keep the active tabs on Sunny.
Right.
I feel like that would be between Jet or I to do that if Lex wants to go to the mess hall.
Okay. You're welcome to go on your own, Lex, as well. That's not a problem, but I'm just
I'm
checking.
fine with going on my own.
Oh, we're not sending you alone.
I'll
No.
go with. I'll go with.
Okay. Yeah, I'll man the terminal.
Okay, so you two head out to the mess hall, avoiding detection of the bot. You slide into the cafeteria area where all of these corpses lay spread out in this kind of half circle around the painting on the window. As you look around, there are... It all looks like it's self-inflicted. This is just a circle of suicides by whatever these religious folks are. And each one of them in their hand has a basically a shiv. I can't in good faith call it a dagger. It's a little too haphazard for that. But each one of them has a weapon. Each one of them is covered in the same kind of white paint adorning them. And they've all got like trinkets and things on them. Some of them have papers. Some of them have like bracelets or different like finer robes and things. But all of this looks very, very ceremonial. There is food here. It looks like the food was not cleaned out when people left. And beyond that, this space is still. Unless you're doing any specific investigating or questions about anything.
There's a mess hall, I imagine there's a galley, but overall it's just general searching and trying to get an idea of maybe what else had been going on here. If they've got like trinkets and things like that and they're ceremonial, does it look like they're artifacts of something?
No. All of them look to be handmade. They're recreations of some of these symbols, like made out of industrial wire or like blowtorched pieces of like scrap metal from the ship and things. Like people are desperately trying to cling to whatever this religion is and manufacturing it themselves. Some of the notes, if you're looking through the individual's garb and paper that they're carrying around, a lot of this seems to have been recent and related to the captives that they took aboard. Specifically mentioning an individual that matches the description of the captain. You can also, while you're doing this, like hearing the bot move back and forth, this space is dead silent as you're kind of pondering over these things. Heather, you get confirmation about 20 minutes into all of this that the Sunny has cut a hole large enough for him to venture into. and he hops in, and the data stream that you receive back is this is the outer port for the escape pods.
Oh. Well, that's just mean. Would communicate back to Sunny asking if any escape pods remain.
There is 2 of the 4.
Okay. Can they tell the max capacity for each of these pods?
Occupancy is 2.
Okay.
If you want to conserve, like, air and things in the same manner. I guess you can fit through. It's like, with what you know of escape pods, a 2-man escape pod can put 3 people in it, but it is not at its recommended 14-day air and power time at that point.
Right. Okay. Can Sunny check on the viability of these escape pods? Like if they've been damaged in any way?
Yeah, give it a couple minutes and he'll get back to you.
Sure.
What are you guys doing in the mess? Any other questions or things you would like to investigate?
I think while Lex is poking around with these folks, I would take a little bit more like concerted effort to see if anything in the journal more specifically matches up with the painting on the wall or the window. I guess specifically like the exact image in its orientation and arrangement as it is on there, or if there might be some sort of like listing that matches orientation and arrangement, that sort of thing, rather than just like scattered matches.
Yeah, there is a recipe, essentially, is probably the best way that I could explain it, or like a spell scroll type page of this ledger that explains the concept of this circle, at least what you can understand of like how it's organized. You have a hard time making out a lot of it, but the words that you have had interpreted for you already is a spell to induce, or a ritual, not a spell, but a ritual to restore life is how it's phrased. But that's not necessarily what you have seen in any literal translation. You definitely have a good gauge on kind of the religious cultism of what they are doing by the time that everybody finishes doing their thing. The New Dawn, as they are calling themselves, from what notes you have gathered and what you have read and noticed and things, are obsessive about finding a way to repair the universe. They know it's dying. Everything eventually goes through atrophy. Energy is lost. Matter is lost. It can't be avoided. And their whole premise is the only thing that can fill that space is that which fills the space already, the void. If we can let the void in entirely, we can replace the atrophy that is currently destroying the universe. It comes across in a lot of the notes as incredibly benevolent, but what your knowledge of the void and what we're dealing with here is very much not.
Okay. I'd probably be kind of quiet about it and just go to Lex and say I haven't really found anything new. Just kind of more confirmation along the lines of what we've already been thinking. And again, nothing helpful for our situation right now.
I want you to take 2 void points for that as well. Taking deliberate effort to research the cosmic and understand these people better.
Got it?
So,
no, yeah, go ahead.
What was specifically said about the captain?
Something about yes, something about finding him specifically led these people to do this to themselves, I suppose.
maybe more specifically, the ritual was, or the significance of this ritual at this moment was for the survivors, or for the kidnapped. It was done on the captain. It was not because of the captain's presence.
Oh.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and put this in layman's terms. Sounds like these fuckers sacrifice themselves to incite the void into inciting a corruption in the captain.
And that's what we're seeing on his body?
I think there's a very good chance.
Heather, you get word back that the escape pods are operational.
Okay.
You are good to go in that regard. Additionally, you all know, or rather, with the information that you guys have, whatever's in that cryopod is bad news. Ash, you would notice this, or no, Ash, you wouldn't notice this. This would be serendipitous and horrible and hilarious for just the narrative tone of the space that you two are in. But you guys are having a conversation about this whole thing, like looking at a semicircle of dead bodies, and you can see fog rolling in through the vent. Jet, you would be very personally familiar with. Very cold. The crystalline fogs of a recent pod opening.
Time to go, Lex. We gotta go.
Barreling out. We're heading back to the captain's quarters.
Where's the robot?
Yeah.
Haven't heard from him in a second.
Oh no.
Quick check out of the windows in the door.
Okay. Quick check out of the windows in the door. Will tell you that, yeah, you are in the clear.
I'm taking a shiv with me.
But fair enough. You're still
I'm taking
not
a few of them.
You're still not hearing that droid. But you head out of the room, and yeah, you barrel down towards the captain's quarters. Give it a quick open, pop into the room with Heather. Give it a seal behind you. But the ship is silent right now.
So we lost track of that thing for a few minutes, right?
Did you? Uh-oh. Okay.
Before we went out. And then we saw the fog from the cryopod.
Oh.
How long after a pod's open does it take for something to start moving and becoming active?
10 minutes.
I'm pretty sure the captain's gone for us. What did you find, Heather?
Sunny was able to get into that area. It's an escape pod bay, and there's 2 pods remaining, both functional. I forgot to ask Sunny how big the hole they cut was. It was probably only big enough for them, but if you say the cryopod's open and you haven't heard from the robot, we might need to go into the vents to get into the escape pod bay.
We should tell Sonny to make sure that hole is big enough for us. Lex and I are pretty sure that these people just did a ritual on the captain to summon the void within him. We have no reasonable way of saving him and ourselves.
Unfortunate.
Unless
but
I'm missing
okay.
something.
No, I think that was pretty astute.
Heather's like already typing in the terminal to let Sunny know that they need to make this hole big enough for us to crawl through, and it should know like the appropriate like dimensions for
Yeah,
that.
it gives you an approximate time frame to do so, which is
Friendly reminder, if we're going to the vents, we have to ditch the suits.
Crap. Okay.
We could try making a run for it and telling Sonny to get the door from the inside instead, undo the barricade, and get to the cryopods without the robot finding us. But that's in the same hallway as the cryopod.
I don't know that we should risk it. If the void has been called forth on the captain, there's, as you said, no saving him, but also it could prove our demise if we go that way.
Are we able to try taking off our suits and like bunching them up in a way that we could kind of shimmy them in front of us
just gonna
as we
shove
go
them
through the
through
vents?
the vent as you go.
Yeah.
One at a time for each
I mean,
of us?
it's clever. I'll allow it. I don't
Okay.
I don't see why not. It's gonna cause just a little bit more time and probably unwieldiness getting through the vents, but yeah, you can.
Well, it's gonna take time for Sunny to open up the airway anyway.
Fair enough. I guess the question then is, are you moving immediately? Or are you waiting for Sunny's good to go?
I'd be probably pretty pushy about trying to save the time to just sync up and
Yeah.
go now.
Okay.
Considering it'll take us a little bit longer if we're pushing our suits through,
Mhm.
it would hopefully match with the time that Sunny could take it down.
Okay.
Heather, you know the path?
Yes.
Lead the way.
Onward you tread then.
My new question is,
Yes.
what all is standard for escape pods? You said it was about 14 days that it's survivable. What is actually within the pods to account for that?
So escape pods have self-contained life support systems, cycling air. They've also got typically stocked with enough like freeze-dried rations or just nutritional supplement rations to survive that same amount of time. They also have short-range radio. Like, they don't have like really galactic distant radio transmitters by any means, and you are a ways out, but it's a shot.
There's no real like navigational equipment either. It's just you kind of go dead floating.
I mean, you're not a dead float. That's a good point. You can travel, but in the list in the book, if you're moving, like, it is functionally too slow as far as like distance. Like, you are not getting anywhere between systems quick. So like, you can put yourself in a trajectory, but that's about it. You're not hoping to get planet side with one of these. Unless you're already being shot at one.
How far out from that signal that we initially got are we?
Great question.
That is a good question. You would be able to tell once you got in the pods, but you actually have no way of really knowing that right now.
Okay.
Because you don't know if you were moved from the location you got kidnapped.
Then we'll ask that question when we get to the pods,
Okay.
and hopefully don't get snatched in the vents.
So, you guys travel through about 5 minutes into this moving through these vents. Just, you hear a horrible rattle, like an impact from the side of the ship, coming down the way from functionally where that cryo bay was.
Tight.
If it was moving in that cold, it's moving quick now. And you can even hear the footsteps of that droid, like, all of a sudden is back, like, running up ahead you, and then just like an abrupt stop to the sound. Another 6-7 minutes go by, and whatever is happening up above is damaging enough that you can very quickly start to feel the oxygen slipping out of the space. like there is now an actual hull breach in the ship.
Oh, God.
8 minutes go by. That hull breach is severe enough that conversation is not to anyone's benefit. 9 minutes travel by. You can start to see Sunny down the edge of the vent. By about the 10th minute, trying to get here, Sunny has managed to carve through the space and jumps up into the breach above you, where you all climb up out of the floor into this escape pod, and without much conversation at all, or really much else that you can do, you have who is splitting up where? How are you heading into the escape pods?
I would just like point to Sunny and then point to one of the pods and then head into there with Sunny, indicating the other two to take the other one.
Okay. Everybody in agreement?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
Stumbling on over.
You boot up into these escape pods as they seal themselves, fill with air. You all are able to take a resplendent gasp of, like, a full oxygen as you are jettisoned from this ship. As you look up into space on the ship that you were... I mean, the one up in the distance now. It is what looks like plant growth. Aggressive amounts of, like, deep green tendrils, stalks, roots, whatever you want to call them that they look like, have burst from the side of the ship, almost using the captain as a seed bed, and had begun to has begun to crush the portion of the ship that it is using as its anchor point. As you continue to drift, eventually it reaches a point where that anchor point, the reactor itself explodes, and you can see the fuel venting in different directions from within, like holding a lamp with your hand over it. You can see the light, like, peering through the different corners of these vines. Whatever it is consuming or whatever it was feeding off of, the blast does barely anything to this mass of stuff. But that ship is destroyed. You four made it out and are now floating, hoping to find some SOS for some assistance and some further direction as to where you were heading next. To answer your question, Lex, since you were looking into it, you are actually sitting on the outer ring of the Rimtersar ship graveyard. So not all that far away from where you were supposed to be, but really easy to lose a derelict ship in. So ended up being a convenient place to drop you all to die. Luckily, Lex, being a pilot of a get-her-done kind of person, there is a single bar that floats anonymously out through Rimtersar for certain black market goods. And your shortwave radios are just enough to send a ping that way. Who chooses to hear you, and whether or not they choose to help, will be something that we will address in the next episode.
All right.
Oh my God.
There
We
you go.
made it.
We made it.
You guys
We
not going
made
into the
it.
mess hall until the very, very end of everything is what saved your asses too.
Good call,
Because
everyone.
I wrote a list. I wrote a list of if-then statements specifically for that
We
droid.
go into this
Yeah.
place.
If something happens, well, because that's the only room with windows. All the droid has to do is walk past and recognize you're there, and then it goes and opens the pod, was its directive.
Damn.
So yeah,
Wild.
you guys avoiding that for as long as you did was
Good job,
helpful.
us.
Damn. Hell yes.
But good. What do we think about the system?
It's really cool.
I'm enjoying it.
It's cool. I'll be definitely interested to get into its mechanics more
Yes.
with future episodes. We touched on it a bit, but we were more heavily into the role play aspect today.
Yes, you got to get the good exposition.
Yeah, we just explored it a little bit enough that it's enticing me for sure.
Yeah, because we got into the gritty of like combat, but there's so much in this that revolves around like actual repairs and things like that. So because you're dealing with a bunch of fucking space junk and you have to put it back together if you're actually going to survive. So
Yep. Actual repairs,
Starts to do
exploration.
off-world, yeah.
Yeah, off-world stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So, as a note too, before you all press into the next episode, everybody's walking away from this session with 12 XP.
Okay.
So check the advancement stuff and do with that what you will. And then, yes, so I think at this point we will end up reconvening this on the 25th for episode 2, and then there will be a gap for July 9th, and then we'll be back for the finale on the 23rd. Which I'm very excited about.
It's
find
so
it at
cool.
the schedule.
Yep, the schedule for TPK has just been dropped. We do all kinds of wonderful things in that schedule. We're super busy all the time. But for the sake of this, normally we would have a conversation at the end about the system and things, but because I'm allowed to slow burn this a little bit more, thank you, OKKP. Very much appreciate having you in chat today. That was delightful. But because I can do a little bit more of a slow burn, we're going to talk about it at the very end during the season finale stuff.
Cool.
And put some notes forward probably from Jet, depending on scheduling. But we'll just round it out here, get some outros for everybody, call it a clean break from what we're working on, leave us in the mystery, and then we will see everybody for this in 2 weeks.
Awesome.
You want to start us off, Ash?
Sure. Hi, I'm Ash. I go by Ashton Rabbit here on Twitch and all over the internet. You can typically find me over on twitch.tv/nat20, running a D&D game set in the continent of Wildmount. Every other Wednesday. I think we're coming back on the 22nd. I'm checking my calendar. Yes. So the 22nd is the next time we're playing with that. Come check that out. I also play in a game that Magic here runs every other Sunday on his channel called Tenements of the Great Rift. I'll let him talk about that. As far as where you can find me next, I'll be back here actually on Monday for the Iron GM semifinals where I go against Lugalok. I'm terrified. It's going to be fun. It's 2 GMs writing a one-shot in an hour with a prompt that we don't know about until right as soon as it starts. So come check that out. And then obviously the continuation of this on the 25th. So yeah, fun times. I'll pass it over to who's next? Magic.
Hey, that's me. I'm Dead Magic Juice. I am normally a GM with TPK Roleplay, but as I alluded to earlier in the episode, especially for Top Shelf, I always love popping in when I'm invited, because as I am the D&D guy sort of type, branching out into other systems and games is always very insightful and helpful in developing skill sets and learning new ideas. So thank you again, Mads, for having me for another show, and I'm looking forward to rounding out this mini-series. I do run Queen's Gambit. That's every other Thursday here on TPK Roleplay. Very typical high fantasy, high magic D&D stuff going on with that. Ash mentioned I also run another D&D campaign on my own channel. It's typically every other Sunday, similar format. Schedule's a little funky on that one just because summer things are summer things. but Twitter is the place to keep track on updates for those sessions. And then eventually we will be back to every other Sunday. One more thing I want to plug, since we're doing a space game today, I am running a Spelljammer game here on TPK Roleplay on the week of release, or we're starting on the week of release. That is going to be on Sundays starting at the end of August, again, with the week that Spelljammer actually releases. So that's going to be great. Keep tabs on that. But I think that's it for me for now.
Hell yeah. Meg, you are
And that
up.
brings it back over to me. I am Meg Mysteria. I got to play Lex Cantrell tonight. Today is in fact daytime. As far as where you can see me next, tomorrow I will be on Neon Lights for our Lancer campaign, Frozen Rain, where we're doing more space shit. We're dealing with a crazy android over there as well. So, but after that, we'll come back around here for Top Shelf, and then in July coming up, we'll have our finale episode for the campaign that I am running for the Alien RPG called The Hubris of Man. So if you like creepy space shit, haha.
Hell yeah.
Shouting out Marsha P again in chat there. Thank you, OKKP, for all the bits and donations. We greatly appreciate it. And yeah, that will be getting forwarded along.
Spectacular. And as always, my name is Mads, your host. You can find me on Twitter at jkmadigan or on the TPK Discord, or jkmadigan.itch.io, which is where I write my own tabletop games and things of that sort there, which I need, hopefully, coming up soon, should have a little bit more time for, but I will be running the Top Shelf into perpetuity. We've got all kinds of good stuff that always ends up cropping up here. I'm really excited to be back to a mini-series and hopefully a longer expedition slow burn for the first episode. Everybody was having a good time. I appreciate everybody showing up, and we will see you in 2 weeks in the morning as well. This is going to be the normal time slot for here into the future. But we will talk to you all on episode 2 of Death in Space. Take care, everyone.